Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Raw Side. Welcome, welcome. Glad you all could join us this evening. We have a special guest, Bill from Carbs and Coffee. He's going to explain some of his paranormal experiences with us, and hopefully, we can help him kind of like figure things out and actually just enjoy his experiences just like we enjoy anybody else's. So, without further ado, and we are going to add Mr. Bill. Hi, Bill. How are you?
Hey, what's going on, Laura?
Hey, I gave you a little applause too. All right.
Yeah, thanks, man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I had to tell everybody, excuse my watery eye. Allergies are driving my eyes crazy. So,
Hey, you getting nailed with storms?
not yet, but we are under a storm watch.
Yeah, so are we. We just got nailed uh with some thunder and stuff, and it's raining right now too, but it's only supposed to last till like 8, and I just checked the weather, so it's supposed to like pass us by. So
Oh, hopefully, yeah, it won't be too bad. I
oh, you
know
have
that.
dogs too.
Yeah, her big mouth. She's barking at somebody outside off the porch. She'd be in here all over my lap if I left the door open, but I don't do that because then all you'll be seeing is her face and her knocking stuff over.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's just safer to keep her out in the other room.
yeah.
So we're I was telling everybody actually how I introduced you is you're going to explain some of your paranormal experiences with all of us, and hopefully we can I don't know, like just help you understand what was going on, help you or just take in your experiences just like we take in everybody else's.
Yeah.
And remember, everybody, you're always welcome to ask questions. Just please follow the guidelines and be respectful. Otherwise, you get the boot. That's just the way it works around here.
Cool.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion, but we always be kind. Bill, what I'm going to let you do is just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh boy, great.
Yeah, they're not like putting you right on the spot.
Well, Laura, as I always tell you, I was hit by a van. No.
Right. And we're going to take that
So
into consideration. You have van damage.
van damage. Yeah, whenever I do my videos, whenever I edit, I have to edit out all the poor English. I tend to mumble, so if I say something that you didn't quite catch, just stop me and go say, "What was that again, Bill?" Because I tend to
Uh,
mumble when I speak. So, sorry about that. Well, a little bit about myself. I grew up actually in the same city that you did, Utica.
oh,
Yep, Utica, New York. So,
that explains everything.
it explains everything. Yep. So, um, as far as my upbringing, I grew up Catholic, um, and my mother was like, I don't want to say she was a diehard Catholic, but she made us children a diehard Catholic. She didn't
Okay.
really sort of like when it came to to her beliefs, she didn't really sort of like, it was kind of like, do as I say, not as I do. If that
Okay.
yeah, as I if that I call her a CEO. She was Christmas, Easter only.
Okay.
And but my mother, I this kind of, I know it's not really talking about myself because I have trouble talking about myself. I have a very
Okay.
low self-esteem, and I think you and I have talked about that before. See, I think we
Yes,
should
we
preface
have.
this. Laura and I know each other, and so I have trouble talking about myself. Um, and
Well, you
and
shouldn't. You're a hottie.
oh yeah, right.
Get it out there.
So, well, thank you, Laura. Right back at you. And so Laura, geez, what has it been? 20 at least plus years, 25 years we've known each
At
other.
least.
Yeah,
Oh my God. Can you believe it's been that long?
yeah, I know.
I never really
And
thought about it, but yeah.
yeah, and I guess why I'm talking about my mom is because a lot of this, I think, the reason why I'm on your channel, like, why is Carbs and Coffee here? Why is he here? What does that have to do with like being on a paranormal channel? First of all, carbs is carburetors, not like donuts and bread and stuff like that.
Oh, I
Um,
gotta stop watching then.
yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Exactly. Um, so Laura and I just kind of, I just told her, I've had experiences with this stuff, and I think it revolves around my mother. She used to mess around with tarot cards, and oh geez, see, this is where being hit by a van. Uh, Ouija board.
Okay.
In fact, when growing up, I remember going into the garage, cleaning out the garage, and I was in my teens, and I found her like original Ouija board. It was still like a Milton Bradley
Right. Yeah.
card
Just the board. Right.
cardboard, yeah, like from like the 60s. They still made them out of cardboard and stuff. But
Right.
uh so I don't know, that part that interests me was probably from my mother. That um Italian Irish Gothic thing
Right. Okay.
translated to me. Um, Even though I should preface this that um, I am a born again Christian, but still that stuff is still in me. Where that stuff is still biblical and it's still
Right.
in me. That stuff exists because, again, the reason why I'm on your channel is I will be telling stories of things firsthand that have happened to me.
Correct.
So these aren't just stories that I'm going to say, oh, a friend of mine this happened to.
Right.
Although I will be telling a couple family stories that they told me, not, oh, my cousin, and it was like, it just happened down the line. These
Right.
are like, it happened to my grandmother and she told me these things. And then I have about 5 or 6 stories that actually happened to me. So I just figured, hey, this is going to be great for you and I to talk about. And yeah, and maybe you could, with the things that you do and the people that you have on your channel, could go, maybe some insight, to because as I am new to it, I'm not new to it, so
Right. Well, yeah, you've had your experiences, but as far as like analyzing or discussing, it could have been something else, and you just
yeah.
didn't know what it was at that time.
Yep.
That's what I'm saying. Everybody, that once everybody starts popping in, they have had
Sure.
their experiences. Most of them are investigators, so they've done their research. So I mean, it can help out.
Yep,
Um,
absolutely.
and like you said, like, or here, like this is a spirit board here.
Okay, yeah.
That is used with with pendulum. It's a pendulum board.
Okay.
Because I've done pendulum readings for people. And the tarot cards and all that. And I'm gonna tell you, and I always tell everybody when I do the readings, it's basically entertainment.
Yeah, and I like that. That's another thing I want to tell you, Laura, about your channel. I was talking to Michelle about it, my wife, everybody, and uh Laura knows my wife and everything. And what I love about what you do on your channel and the people that you have on, there's no, like, I love how it's just raw, the raw side paranormal. There's no like, hey, this is real stuff, guys. There's none of that. And that's what I like about how you treat, first of all, your channel and the people that come on. Uh, the people, and I'm sorry, I sort of hijack. I don't want to hijack the
No, no, no.
conversation.
Go
Sorry.
ahead. That's what you're here to talk.
When you had the guy on about the microwave, there was a guy that had he went into um these people were like convinced that they had paranormal activity in their house and stuff. And uh he was like, okay, I'll come in and do a reading. So he brought his gadgets in and stuff. And he deduced that it was the microwave and
Yeah,
the
that might have
amount
been Joe Kelly. He's very, very
that
scientific.
that was the dude. And
Yes.
I'm getting chills talking about it
He's
because
actually he's on an investigation right now in Texas.
is he okay? Because
Yeah.
that dude, I made the comment, I typed in and I said, I really like the way this dude. Oh, and that was the day you were having tons of feed problems. Yes. And I was like, I love the way this dude handles things because he's very respectful. And the poor kid, what was happening was, and I'll kind of, for the viewers or whatever, the poor kid, his bed was like against the wall to the kitchen, and every
Right.
time they would run the microwave, this poor kid would get migraine headaches. And then it was kind of like on Lampoon's Vacation. I owe this one to my buddy Elby, where he'd like pee his pants and forget who he was for half an hour or so.
Right.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
like cousin Eddie. And but in all seriousness, the poor kid was like going nuts, and the parents or the mother thought like he was possessed.
Correct. Yeah.
But what happened was that dude figured out a mouse chewed through the wiring on the microwave, and every time they'd run it, this poor kid's bed was against and it would just make them go nutty or something like that. It was obviously, I'm paraphrasing, and there was more to it than that. But
Right. Yeah. He was getting a large amounts of the EMF. It was all
that was it.
coming
Yes,
through. Yeah.
yes, that was it. And I was just like, this dude. Now, if you take, and that's what I like about your channel and these people you have on, if you took some guy that was like, I'm gonna reach deep into the pockets of these people,
Yeah.
and like figured out that that was the problem, but was like, no, yes, you're right. You've got a problem here. Your
And
son
they
is,
are out there.
yeah. And that's what I like about your channel, is that that's what you're doing. And it's like, when people need to know, like, that's what you're doing. And that's kind of like what I've been doing. You and I kind of like have each other's back with this whole YouTube thing, which I like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like telling my buddy who's watching right now, what's up, El? And he's like been my best friend forever. And
Hi.
yeah,
He's the camera guy.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Camera guy.
He's
The
in my
camera
intro.
guy.
And I try to tell him, like, that's what I like about what you're doing and what these people are on, like that young
Right.
dude, Dawson.
Yes. I'm very impressed with Dawson.
Yep.
You
So
got my coffee.
yeah, and yeah, I got my my dad bought me this Svengoolie. I don't know if you know who Svengoolie is, but anyways, I got that. But I do have my real coffee.
Yeah, here's real coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, sorry.
mine says Jesus and coffee.
There you go, man.
It covers all the bases.
Yeah. But sorry, I don't mean to hijack the conversation. Like, I know that's what I'm here for, but if
Hi, Faith. Welcome.
yeah. Hello, Faith. How are you?
But
But yeah,
yes,
so
no, you just that's what it is. The whole point of it is that we're getting your point of view, your perspective. And that's what the whole thing is. It's an educational thing. Because there are a lot of people out there that will do like what you just said. They will go into a home and say, "Oh yes, you've got these terrible demons and all this stuff is going on," and they do
completely.
and they charge them for these things,
Yeah.
and then scare the hell out of them. On top of that,
See, and that's the thing, like, about your channel. Like, I never knew, like, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say I never knew, but like, I guess I should say it's awesome to know that there's people like that have the integrity of what these guys are doing. Especially like that Dawson dude. He said he never knew that there was like a YouTube
exactly.
community that does this. He was doing it just because he had an interest in doing it, not to like make money, so to speak.
Right.
So I really
Pretty much just to document what he was experiencing. And that's
Yeah.
the community that we are involved in. It is fantastic because everybody helps everybody. If you got a question, there's somebody out there who's going to have an answer for you.
Yep.
Whether it is paranormal in structure or if it is scientific in that manner.
Yeah.
There's always somebody to ask if you're stuck.
Yep.
Yeah, nobody's gonna just blow smoke up your ass. They're gonna tell you flat out what is what and what they know. And if they don't know, then people are going to research to find out.
Yeah, and I was gonna say, I think that's why I've always been interested in it, and I wasn't always saved, as they say, a born again Christian. So I was into it, and I have been since I've been not. I don't want to say into it, but taken an interest in it because I know that it exists. And the reason why, like, I'm not gonna because I believe because my Savior is Jesus Christ. I'm not gonna say, well, that stuff doesn't exist anymore, because I know it does, because I've had experiences with it. So
right.
How can I deny that stuff doesn't exist when I know that it does, simply because I've got the Holy Spirit living in as my Lord and Savior.
Right.
Now here's the thing. I want to understand it. I'm a thinker.
Exactly.
Obviously, I can't shut my mouth. That's
well, that's human. It's a human nature to wonder, what is this? I mean, because that's one of the questions I was going to ask you, because of your Christian beliefs,
yeah,
and what you've been told by the church and its leaders.
Yep.
And I ask this in all fairness because most people know that I am a minister, so I do have I consider myself an open Christian because I take in beliefs from all religion. It all boils down to the same thing. There's only one creator. no matter what you call him, he's the one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's good and there's evil in the world. And when we pass, we do go to a higher form of being. What happens, we don't know. That's what we're doing here. But as far as your Christian beliefs go, and you're going to believe what, most generally, I would have to say, nobody take offense. Most people believe what the church is telling them. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't,
Right.
be curious. You shouldn't contact the dead, because it's taboo, apparently, according to them. But putting that aside, if you can, what are your personal beliefs about your experiences?
Okay, so my beliefs about my experiences. Yeah, so that's where we get into the part I think so Laura and I, we text each other once in a while because we talk technical stuff, mics, microphones, and stuff like that. So when we do that, I spoke to you about like quantum physics, things like that.
Right.
Um, the fabric of time. Um, so now that's where like okay, we have the Bible. We have a book, and within that book, it's hard for me because I'm a thinker, and you're taught in the church. I'm not a follower. I've never been a follower. Like when Bon Jovi was the thing to listen to in the
Right.
80s, death metal is what I'm listening to.
Right.
So
So you
like,
were following your own path.
oh yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So like, okay, um, no matter what, my faith is when uh Lord Jesus Christ in my heart. Okay, but I back away from the book and I go, um, there has to be some sort of box, and inside the box is Earth, and outside of it has to be realms and dimensions. There because these space-time continuums have to be there. That's my opinion because this is where like theory of like the time and space continuums, where I believe that I don't know about ghosts, but I believe that the good and evil part,
Right.
where I know you say this is the year of the demon.
Oh, that's because everybody on YouTube's, oh, I got touched by a demon, or
Okay,
yeah.
okay. See,
That's why I say that.
but on the other hand, I'm going to go into a story about a loved one where that's not a demon coming to visit me. So, that's it's so hard for me to think and formulate into words how I back away from the Bible with that stuff because um you I don't believe in like outright going out and contacting the dead. Hey, like doing a seance or anything like that. I don't do any of that, and I don't believe in it. But if someone's having a problem in their home, I believe in going in and trying to get rid of it. That's what
Right.
I believe that.
Right.
But I don't believe in. I wouldn't go to like try and conjure something up. Uh,
Okay.
that's a belief for me. Um, but uh, I don't know if that really answered your question. I know I do a lot of word
Uh,
salad.
well, no, yeah, but it kind of did because you're stepping away from the religious teachings to analyze basically what's going on out there.
Y-
Uh,
Yeah, because again, like I've had pastors.
hey, Jan.
Hey, everybody. I've had like I said, pastors say that there's pastors that say that. Well, they don't say that the ghosts don't exist, but I've
Excuse
had
me.
it where it's not necessarily a friendly encounter. I've had bad encounters where that's definitely like a poltergeist
Right.
that happened to me. But the thing with my grandfather, that was not. It's a thing where why would he come and visit me and do that?
Right.
Um, and anytime you want, we could get into that. But yeah, as far as uh like the theories of relativity, um, the farther away something gets, the slower, like with in outer space, like you wouldn't age. I know that's like, what does that have to do with ghosts and stuff like that? It
Right.
kind of does. If you look into quantum physics and start reading about it,
Hmm.
it actually
Hi, Dennis.
does. Uh, hey Dennis, what's up, brother? Dennis Geo. Dude, I don't know if you lost a buddy or something, man. I don't. Dennis is a friend of mine. I don't know if you lost a buddy. I'm sorry if he might have lost a friend. Uh,
Oh, many prayers to you and your
yeah, dude. I
family.
don't. Yeah. But he's a really good friend of mine. Thanks for stopping in, brother. Um, but yeah. Sorry, Laura. Next question.
No, that's a next question. Okay, so what we're gonna do is pretty much explain to us. Actually, I'll ask you this before I start asking you about your personal experiences. If you
Yeah.
had the opportunity, would you ever go on an investigation?
Um, you know, I there's part of me that I think I would, and here's why. I don't think that I don't think that the Lord just puts Christians around just for like idle things. You know, so the Catholic Church, I don't want to like knock the Catholic Church, but they do send priests out to rid homes of that.
Yes.
They sort of investigate, and they spend sometimes days, weeks, and months. There's been, a lot of in the 70s with like Amity and stuff. Supposedly
Right.
that was all faked, and there's a whole mess of things
Yeah.
on that. And
Yeah.
but let's just pretend, for argument's sake, that that was all true. Um, but those priests supposedly spent a lot of time there to exercise that house, right?
Yes.
Um, well, why can't born again Christians do that? We supposedly have the power to bless our own homes and rid our own homes of that stuff. Okay. Like, I don't have a fear of that stuff. Now, the Bible says to always fear the devil because he comes in like a roaring lion.
Mm,
He's very powerful. Um, so I kind of feel like with the armor of God, could I help and pray? Say there was something there.
right.
Maybe I could let the investigators do their job, right? But as a man of God, would I be able to say, now I've never been on one, but
Right.
say if the homeowner's there and they're freaking out. These are all hypotheticals, right? Pretend this is
Right.
happening. And they're freaking out. Say you have an emotional woman. Uh, I could pray with you. And I could also pray against this uh, horrible thing that's happened, horrible
Right.
entity. I believe I have the power of God to do that. Scripture can fight against these things.
Yes.
So that's my belief. I believe that yeah, I think I could help. Now, why not? What like
Exactly.
what's the problem with that? Why can't a
Exactly.
Christian, a born again Christian, go and help with this? Why are we supposed to sit by idle and like go, no, I'm not going to help? Like,
Right.
they teach Jehovah's Witnesses are like taught to go knock on your door and pound on your door constantly. Like, how many of us have always like, it's like, oh, you like look out your window, you're like, exactly what it is. You're like, oh,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
there's two of them.
I've
They
come up
got
with some goodies for those people.
they got a black little suitcase thing, and you know
Yeah, they
exactly what it is, right? Well, why can't like they're meant to go out and do that? Well, why
right.
can't like what's the problem with like us doing that? I really don't see a problem with it. Um, that's just the way I feel that if you can help take your beliefs as a born again Christian
Right.
and put it in a positive manner
Right.
and
Use
use
it
it
as
as
a shield of protection for the
that's
people that are involved.
because every time I get up, here's the thing, Laura. Every time I get up in the morning, um, you get out of bed and you're like, God, what do you have for me today? what does the devil have for me today? Because
Right.
ultimately, in the Bible, it's like, people always say that God hates me. It's not God, dude. It's the devil. This is the devil's playground, the earth. Earth is the devil's playground. And so that's the way I feel. This earth is the devil's playground. So what do we have to do? We got to put on our Christian armor every morning, get out of bed, and do something about it. So why not help somebody?
It helps somebody. Exactly. Oh, I'm
What?
glad that you're enjoying it, Faith. Yeah, we wanted to get this out there because a lot of people, the majority of the people that are involved actually in the paranormal community pretty much are either atheists or agnostic, kind of on the
Yeah.
fence.
Yep.
And so that's why I figured it'd be great to have you come on to get your perspective.
That was
Um,
another thing too. And yeah, and like I knew that it might be like a touchy subject, but I didn't want it to be because um
yes, it can be.
yeah, and you know what? Like it's cool because like either way, like I'm a very open person. I tell people, and my wife doesn't really like when I say it. She's watching.
Is she
I am.
watching?
Oh yeah,
Hi, Michelle.
I'm such an awful person that I need Jesus Christ in my life. I am just like I mess
Okay.
up. I mess up all the time, Laura. You should see the editing I have to do in my videos. Like
Well,
when I
that doesn't
bust.
make you an awful person.
Well, we're all born sinners, first of all. And so I have to have him in my life, and I have to tell myself every day, and I have to plead the blood of Jesus on myself. And it's just the way I roll. It's just the way I roll. And so that's just why I try. That's just what I try to do in my daily thing. And I just, man, I'm like, God, could I just try to be a better person, please? And I just try to always talk to him. I try to, and
Right.
that's why when I do my videos, you'll notice that they're always family friendly. You could sit down with your kids. You never
Right.
have to worry about foul language or anything like that. You could always flip on my videos and never worry about swearing or anything like that.
And that's good. Well, I can't always say that on here because sometimes it just
well, and
sometimes the filter is gone. So
well, you're listen. It's your channel. You're all adults, but like I said, on
exactly.
mine, if anybody feels like it, you want to learn about cars and some comedy and stuff, it's on there.
Yeah, go
You can
check
watch it with
Bill's channel out,
you
Carbs
can
and
watch it with your kid.
Coffee. Very good channel. We'll get into that at the end of the show. So you can tell everybody about your channel.
Oh yeah.
Um, okay, we're just gonna dive right in and pretty much explain to us what was you actually can you remember your very first paranormal experience and pretty much how did you handle that?
Yeah. So I actually because I wrote this stuff down because I was hit by a truck. So
All right, stop using that excuse. No.
so all right. When I was little, this isn't I don't I guess this would be paranormal. So this had to be like I was probably like 2 years old. There was a glass bowl. This is really weird. There was a glass bowl in my parents' kitchen, and it was calling to me at night. It was like in the middle of the night, in the morning. Yeah, I know it's weird, but it was growling at me.
Really?
Yeah, it was a demonic growl, and it woke me up, and it was calling to me, and it would do. I should preface this that it would do this every night to me, and I would have nightmares about it. This
Hmm.
green bowl. It was a transparent green, translucent green, and it was like that 1970s sort of Pyrex bowl,
Right.
and it would give me nightmares. This stinking bowl. And I have something to tell you about the house I grew up in too. And I just had this conversation with my father, like not 3 days ago. He reminded me of some stuff that I wrote down. So it was I can remember I don't know maybe like 5 days in a row this bowl, and it was on top of the refrigerator, and I remember thinking I'm gonna break this bowl. I've had enough of it. 2, 3 years old. So I got up and I pulled the in the cabinets. I pulled the cabinets out and I walked up the cabinets like for stairs, got up on the countertop and went up onto the top of the refrigerator so I can get that bowl because my mother stored it up on top of the refrigerator.
Right.
And when it was growling at me, I could see like a demon face, like a dog. It looked like a dog.
Hmm.
And I took it and I whipped it and I threw it off the top of the refrigerator and it broke and shattered. And I remember, and I sat down on the counter and was looking at it and the growling stopped. And my parents came out of their bedroom and I knew it was, in the morning or, it was nighttime. And my parents came out and they were like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And they thought that the bowl fell, but I didn't tell them that I broke it. They
Right.
thought it fell off the, and almost hit me.
Right.
So they were none the wiser that I actually got up to go break it.
Right.
And obviously, like, I remember thinking, oh, they're going to be mad because the hall light came on and they're coming down the hall. They're like, "What was that?" And it's a vivid memory. I can remember this really well. What was that? And they were like, "Are you okay?" And I remember thinking, "Oh, this is great. Don't say anything that I broke it. Just they think that it fell." And
Right.
then I remember them cleaning it up and put me back to bed, and that was it. And then I stopped having the dreams about this bowl. This bowl, it stopped. What does anybody have any thoughts on an object?
My question would be, where did the bowl come from?
Yeah, I was just thinking that just as I said that. Was it not brand new? Was it from like a yard sale or something?
Right. Right.
That's just as I said came out of my mouth, I knew you were going to say that. I just thought of that. I don't know. Great question though.
And yeah, what was the bowl used for?
Yeah.
And you never said anything to your mother or father about
Later
this
on in life,
experience,
I've talked a lot more to my father now that my mother's passed away.
right?
She passed away in 2017, and I've been talking to my father a lot more now that she's been gone about these things. The abuse actually from my mother. I told him this story about the bowl. I told him this next story I'm going to tell you. He was like, "Really?" And so when I was telling him these stories, he told me these couple stories about the house I grew up in, that my
Right.
mother experiences that my mother had.
Now, what was his thought on the bowl?
My dad's kind of weird. He's like not like my mother and I, we like cemeteries, and I have some Civil War ancestry,
Right.
and up north somewhere, the Doyles on my side of the family are buried up there. So we went to go see their gravestones. They were in the Civil War. So when me and my mom got out of the car to go look, my dad stayed in the car. He would like not get out. He would not go look at the gravestones. And I was like, "Dad, are you going?" He's like, "No." He's like very like he's not. He's very like guarded when it comes to this kind of thing. So like when I talked about this stuff, he's not very analytical about it.
Okay.
He's just like, "Really? Huh."
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you get from him. And
I'll
he's
be
he's an
darned.
he's an engineer.
Right. So you would think that he would go the scientific route,
Yeah. You would think that he would be a thinker and be like, like
try to
analytical,
figure
like
it
we got,
out,
yeah,
right?
like, "Oh, and you know what? We got that bowl from," but you know what? He doesn't even, I broke my wrist in 4th grade. He's like, "Yeah, you broke your ankle, right?" He wasn't, he's like, "Wait, that was your sister, wasn't it?" Like, I'm like, "No, it was me." He doesn't even remember. Yeah.
Okay. It's just like dad's just there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so now tell us the story about the house. Maybe there's a connection from the house and the
Yeah.
bowl.
I was thinking that too. So so let me tell you about the shadow person. So,
Ah,
yeah, so probably this was some years later. I was probably like 5 or 6 maybe ish. Um, uh, the way that it's kind of hard to explain, but there's no way this could have been my shadow. Let's just put it that way. My parents were out in the living room, and I'm in my bed sleeping, And at the foot of my bed, I woke up and I can remember they had company over, and it was actually my uncle. He had just gotten out of the Air Force. This had to be about 1980 ish. So I was about 1980. So yeah, I was about 5 or 6 or so, 5. And so I woke up, and at the foot of my bed, against my dresser, was a shadow, just this outline of a shadow, a black blob, and of course, when you're like, now I woke up because I heard my uncle talking with his wife. His wife was uh, from Hong Kong, actually. And I remember thinking, I want to be out there. Like, they put us kids to bed, and I hadn't seen my uncle in years. And of course, when you're a little kid, and I love my uncle and I wanted to see him. And
Right.
they put us to bed. And I'm like, I want to be out there. And I finally fell asleep, but then I heard them laugh, and I like jolted up again, and I like sat up, and that shadow thing was at the foot of my bed. And I was like, that's weird. And like, your eyes are like, like trying to focus in on it. I'm like, oh, that's my shadow. That's weird. But why is my shadow? Why do I see my shadow? There's no light behind me projecting a shadow. Even as a little kid, you understand physics. You
Right.
understand,
Yeah, the
like,
basics. Yeah.
yeah, you understand that this shouldn't happen. This doesn't make sense. Um, so I went to test it. I went to the left. I moved like that. And it didn't move. After a second, it moved and copied me like that.
Right.
Then I was like, okay. Then I moved straight up again, and it moved straight back. And then I moved to the right, and then it moved to the right. It copied me. And
Hmm.
then I moved straight back up, and it copied me. It mirrored everything I did, but like a second afterward. And I'm thinking, okay, this ain't my shadow. And then I went like this. I wiggled back and forth like that. And then it
Right.
copied everything I did. It
Okay.
mimicked everything I did. And I was like, I was so scared. So I had my grandmother knitted me a baby blanket. I had it ever since I was a baby, and I wouldn't go anywhere without this blanket. And so I'm sitting up in my bed, and it was at the foot of my bed where that thing was.
Right.
So I was just like looking at it, looking at my blanket, and I was going to reach for that blanket because I would not leave my blanket
Right.
because I wanted to get out of my bedroom. Because right here was my door, and down the hallway this way was my mom, my dad, my
Right.
uncle, and my aunt. But that thing was right there, that shadow thing. But I was like, all I got to do is run this way, so I don't have to pass this thing. But I'm not leaving here without my baby blanket.
Right.
So I slowly like reached, and I thought at any second it was going to like reach and grab my hand and like grab me, but it was still there. And I just closed my eyes and like reached as fast as I could, grabbed my blanket, and ran ran down the hall. And I can remember like looking back like this. And finally I ran into the living room, and I was in the living room with like them, and they were like hi, like they said hi to me, like they were happy to see me. I thought they
Right.
were going to send me back to my room. And I can remember crawling up and cuddling with my mother. And thankfully, I remember they didn't send me like, hey, you got to get back to bed. They let me stay up. But
Right.
and as a little kid, I can remember I told my dad, I remember not telling my parents about a lot of things. Even like when I would get hurt, um, I always felt like I couldn't tell my mother things. And he was like, why? I go, um, I think it was the abuse part. Like I always felt like I was scared of my mother.
Okay.
Like I felt like I couldn't tell her things because she would get very angry. Even like I told my dad the other day, I would eat a banana or an apple, the apple core. I wouldn't throw the apple core out because I thought she would get mad at me if I threw the apple core out.
Oh,
So
okay.
I wouldn't tell my parents these things because I thought they would get mad at me. So I never told them that story. Like I ran out there. I didn't say there's something in my room. I didn't say that.
Right. And from what you believe, you were wide awake.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And that's another thing I wanted to talk to you about. So everybody who's here and listening or whatever, Laura and I have had a mutual friend, Jennifer, and she had told me a story that I brushed off to the side, and there is that REM sleep that we have, and
Right.
I, I think that that's another with that parallel dimension where
Well, I was wondering if it, it had anything to do with the sleep
no,
paralysis.
no, dude,
Okay.
I was totally awake
Okay.
because me leaping for my blanket and everything, like I knew like I had to get my blanket.
So
Like,
yeah, of course you're saying you were able to move and all of that. Okay.
yeah,
So,
because I challenged it. I was
okay.
like I like challenged this thing and it like and as a little kid, I was like, this can't be like, all right, I'm gonna move this way, and then it moved, and then like and then to yeah, no, like often even as an adult, like I play that back in my head, like, were you no, that was and I always think of and I think that was going to be my point where when people talk about things that happen just as they're falling asleep, sometimes I wonder if that's when things happen to them and visitations happen because that's when they're most vulnerable.
Could
Not
be. Yeah. It could
and I
be.
and I believe it's a double-edged sword though too.
Yeah.
It's both. It just depends, and I think that's where like investigations do come in.
Right.
But
And
yeah.
yeah, all the experiments trying to figure out what's what, because you're in that transition phase,
Hmm.
and you are vulnerable when you are sleeping. So that is like a doorway.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, and that's a thing. And I think like that's where we're vulnerable. And I think children are susceptible.
Yes,
So
very
yeah,
much.
yep. And that's why I think like these things. I don't know if it was me. I was the youngest in my family. I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
because at that age you're more open. You're more open to
to
take on
innocence.
or to accept these things and see these things. Where when you get older, all those walls start going up.
Yeah, and you know what? That's true because I didn't think anything of it. Like I said, I didn't even tell my parents about it.
Right.
Like
Now,
I
have you
didn't.
ever told anybody this story before? Like,
Uh,
like you're one of your ministers or this, because I
no,
wanted to know what their perspective was.
actually, no. You know what? I never did. I think because I already know what their answer is, and it's I know it's those are to me it's of the devil. I know it is. Like that's my experience. Um, uh, but I mean, it wasn't anything good for me. But
Right.
also at the same time, I was able to like go back into my bed that night and like sleep, and like it never happened again.
I never had a
Um,
problem.
although I had other things happen, but they weren't. Although the one thing where at the trailer park that was scary, and I'll like
Because
yeah.
my husband had a similar experience when he was a teenager. But then when he pretty much described it to me in total detail just recently again, we figured out that it was sleep paralysis.
Oh
But when he had it happen to him because he was in his bed, broad daylight, the whole room grew dark, and then there was this ray of light come through the window, and then at the foot of his bed was Jesus
hmm,
speaking to him in a foreign tongue. But he said he couldn't move, he couldn't, he was just staring at him, blinking. And when of course, he went to Catholic school.
yeah, me
And when
too.
he told the priest that's the very first go to, it was the devil. No other explanation,
Huh?
that was just their go to.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if you had experienced that same. Well, no, that's what this was,
Well, I went.
without even
Yeah.
investigating exactly what happened.
Well, yeah. I was gonna get into the Catholic school thing, but just in case, I don't want to because I went to 6 years of Catholic school, and I think uh, I'm not necessarily a happy person, and um I think some of it comes from that. They teach you. It seems like they teach you not to be happy.
Yeah,
Um,
they can. It depends on where you go.
well, I again, I want yeah because I mean I don't know who's watching and stuff because it's
Well, we're
Catholicism
not
is a
saying
very
anything that's
touchy subject.
offensive. It's just that fact is fact. They
Well,
are very strict.
I know what my experiences were, and I guess I
Right.
could just speak on mine.
Right. Everybody has had their own experience, whatever belief that they're in.
But
But
yeah,
that's usually the go-to. It's something evil, and that's not always the case.
yeah,
Like you said, you've had experiences, like you said, where a relative, you think it was your grandfather that came.
yeah.
I've
Well, I was awake for that.
family, yeah, my family members have had experiences where we've had relatives come in to visit, and it was nothing malicious, and you knew it was more um loving than anything dark. So that's like I said, that's always the go-to.
Yeah, you know what?
Anytime any kind of religious belief is involved.
So why don't before I get into that one into the trailer park one, why don't I tell you about that one?
Okay.
So my grandfather, that was my mother's father. He was a very strict and if I could say mean person, I'll say it. He was German, and he fought in World War II. He fought against the Luftwaffe. Um, he, but I do have to say, towards the end of his life, when I got older, he just didn't like children. He just didn't like kids. Um, my brother and I, of course, we're boys, but he adored my sister. He just didn't like me and my brother. Um, we lived there. We got burned out of our house um, in Utica. We had a fire there, and we had to move to Buffalo. They lived in Buffalo. We had to move there for 9 months, and it was just awful when we lived there with him. Again, he just didn't like kids. So, but towards the end of when I got older, and I finally got a job in like the dental field, he was just fascinated with the dental stuff. He just loved talking to me about it. When I would go visit, my grandmother was just a beautiful person. Her maiden name was Fusco. Um, and she was just she'd feed you food, Italian. She's just a
That's
great
what they
lady.
do.
Yeah, she was a wonderful woman. And but she would go. My grandfather's name was Frank. She'd go, Frank, do you want a salami sandwich? No. Okay, Frank, do you want? No. He was just
Grouchy.
yeah. So anyway, towards the end, I got that job, and he would always be like, "So Billy," and he would just ask me all the time about. He just changed, and I noticed he always made me very nervous. I was always just like, "Oh yeah, Grandpa," and he just finally we started hugging me and stuff. Like
Right.
he knew it was like getting towards the end of his life, and he was still strict and everything, but he just changed. He seemed nicer to be around. So he smoked Lucky Strike cigarettes his whole life. And those are in case anybody doesn't know, those cigarettes didn't have any filters.
Yeah, they're real
Um,
harsh.
yeah, so I mean, it's just like smoking secondhand smoke your whole life. So I remember he would sit in his chair, and he would because they didn't have the filters. He'd go,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and he'd sit there and he spit the tobacco out just
My
all day
good.
long. So he finally he got cancer and he passed away. So I used to open up the dental lab over on uh it was Dental Systems Group, DSG. And I used to open up I used to go in at like 5 o'clock in the morning. I'd open up the entire lab, get the compressor going and stuff like that. And I didn't know it, but he passed away at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh.
So I go in at like 5 o'clock in the morning. And of course, I didn't know he passed away. And because he passed away in the hospital in Buffalo. I'm in Utica.
Right.
And by that time hospice had came in and stuff like that. And so the a couple other workers had come in, just only a couple. It was about 5:30 in the morning by that time. Phone rings. My mother, it's my mom. Grandpa passed away. I'm like, oh man. We kind of knew it was coming. But it finally happened. Okay, so I hang up the phone. And uh sorry, nobody else was in the lab. It was a big lab actually. And when you
Right.
looked, it was you could see they had different departments, but they
You're
had
talking the one on
windows.
State Street, right?
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I know where you are.
And but you could see in all the other departments they had windows.
Right.
So they're all different departments, but you could see through them. So it wasn't like there were all other rooms, but you could see in every single one of them. So you had bird's eye view of all the other.
Right.
The owner did that on purpose so he could watch everybody.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
used to work for them
Yes. Yep. I know. So anyway,
when they were on Whitesboro Street.
yeah, I worked there too. That was the first one I worked at.
Yeah.
So yeah, in Cherry Street right there
Yeah.
in West Street. Yeah. So anyways, my mom calls, hang up the phone, and I go back to work. Now I have my back toward like the entrance. They had a big long hall. So I have my back towards I'm doing my work, polishing or whatever. And I hear the door open. And it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, but nobody's supposed to get there till about 5:30. And I'm thinking, I look behind me and I'm thinking, I'm waiting to look because, it's downtown Utica and you're like,
Yeah,
oh,
you never know.
yeah, it's creepy, but everybody has keys. Nobody else is supposed to have keys except the people who open. It was me, a girl named Roberta, and you might know her. And like, I think that was just, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Then I hear somebody walking down that hall. And the hair on the back of my neck goes up. And I'm like, I could hear click, click, click. Like, it didn't sound like woman's shoes. It sounded like when you go to like the Legion. My grandfather, he was like one of those guys that went to the Legion like every Friday for the fish fry. And like, yeah, he was on like the 21 gun salute. When
Detail,
yeah, he did that and everything. So I'm like, all right, those clicky shoes. I know those clicky sounding shoes, those dress shoes. He wore those all the time because my grandfather, you know how grandfathers dress.
Yeah.
Those
the slacks and the dress shoes.
Exactly. Yep. Totally. The slacks. You nailed it. The word slacks.
Slacks. Yeah.
Yes. So he's I hear it. I'm like, and I turn around and there's nobody there. I felt somebody standing behind me. There's nobody there. Nobody's there. So really odd. Okay. 10 minutes later, phone rings. Pick up the phone, and there's like a phone right next to me. Because I didn't run the department, but I'd get phone calls because I used to do all ceramic stuff, and I'd get phone calls all the time from doctors. It's my mom. Grandpa just passed away.
Wow.
Oh my God. I was like, so that was him.
Yeah.
That guy like was fascinated with my job. He always was like talking to me about like I just always remember like thinking the guy never talked to me. When he would talk to me about my job, I was like, it was kind of cute. Like, oh, it's cute. He likes my job. Like, he's like, oh, Billy, so what do you do? And he'd always ask me how teeth were made and stuff like
well,
that.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It was really neat. I always thought it was really sweet how my grandfather was mean. And then like he started changing ever since I got a cool job.
Right.
And then like I think he came to visit me.
Came to say goodbye.
And then I got the phone call. It's not like I got the phone call and then like in my head like it happened. No.
Right.
It was all before and then I got the phone call.
Now you said you heard the door open. Was the door open when you turned around?
So you can't see the door.
Oh, okay.
I heard the door like ka-chunk to like from the outside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and like I was like, that was weird. And then like 20, 30 seconds later, I hear the clicking of shoes walking down the hall.
Right.
And then somebody behind me and there's nobody there.
Okay.
Like you know how when you're involved like polishing and stuff, you're thinking, I just want to get this part done and then I'll see who's behind me.
Right.
And then and there's nobody there.
Right.
Yep. So my grandfather came to see me. And so as a Christian, you were talking about what they teach you in church and what would a pastor say.
Right.
They teach you that that's evil, that's the devil, that's a demon. Well, my problem with that, here's my problem. What's the point of that? If that was a so-called demon, right? There's things we just don't know. There's just, if that's a so-called demon, okay, Mr. Demon, ooh, what did you just do to me? That you didn't do anything to me.
Exactly.
Now if some people would say, well, what it was doing was tricking you, and making you feel comfortable, that it was your grandfather. Now, I believe that that could happen if some things happen in sequence where it might trick you to, um,
Into trusting.
into making, yeah, into,
Yeah.
like, say, like, if it's going to build up to something.
Yes.
But that's not what happened. This was
Right.
uh 24 years ago, and nothing's happened since.
That's right. So
And
why would
like I
that
said,
one-time visit be, something evil?
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
So,
that's a good way to put it. Like I said, I agree with you. Why would it be just that one time it would be evil? It would be different if it was every day that you went to work.
so, so that's exactly
And
what I'm
then
saying. So like, so I just wonder, you know, okay, so maybe what if God said, like, or what if me, like I said, my grandfather wasn't a great guy. What if he finally did find the Lord, and was like, okay, you want to do something real quick before you go? Yeah, I'd like to see my grandson. I've always
right,
wanted to know what he does, where he worked. I always wanted to, like, I've always had in my head what it looked like, but, and I don't know. Who knows, man? That's what, as these are the things that go through my head when I'm eating my
right.
Wheaties in the morning. You know?
Now, or another, well, the way I would actually, another thing I would ask you is about this is, did you notice, which you probably didn't at that moment, but
Yeah.
was there any difference in the change of the smell in the room,
No. Yeah. And no.
temperature? So there was like, no, it didn't get cold, or, or you
No.
didn't get a cold chill, or, just, like I said, usually smells, you pick up on a different smell
No.
if
Here's the
something's
thing.
changed.
No. And here's the thing I got to say about. I often thought about the temperature thing. Because I opened up in the morning. Uh, that was it was toward the end of the winter, so it was always cold in there anyway when I first went in. So like I
Right,
always like had to bump up. I think they kept it at like 62, so it was always kind of chilly in there. It was always cold, and it was where I was in the so picture a rectangle, the building,
right. Yeah,
and
because it was wide open, you had some bushes, that was about it.
my
So
department
you were
was
right
right
in
in
the
the
wind.
corner, so
Yep.
that it was always cold over there. So, I know if there was going to be a something like that, you'd feel like a drastic change. But no, I do have to say that no, I didn't feel. There was no smell. It was just a walking sound, and then I could feel a presence. That's it. I wish I could say, "Oh yeah, man, I smelled Lucky
Yeah.
Strike cigarettes." But here's the thing: he stopped smoking like 5 years before he passed away.
Right.
So yeah,
So, yeah, well, that would've been
which,
interesting if you did smell that, or,
yeah, no way. I know it would have been it would have been like the coup de grace of the story, wouldn't it have been?
oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
If I was like, and guess what?
I found a pack of Lucky Strikes in the
Yeah,
hall.
and I heard him spitting the tobacco out.
Oh, yeah, see, there you go. Yeah, that would've been something.
Yeah, yeah. And then so my buddy LB, who's listening, when I visited him, we had to be like, I don't know, we were probably like 13 years old on Steuben Street. We were playing his old Atari 2600, and he was. I remember. Oh, his door to his bedroom just started like closing on its own,
Right.
and we like looked at each other. We're like, like, what's that all about? And we sort of made the mistake of going, if there's somebody here. He had some barbells on the floor with weights on it, the
Mhm.
plastic ones. If there's somebody here, make the weights on the floor roll across the room of the floor. And they did. They rolled across the floor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he recalls it different. He said, remember, and then we just he texted me before I went on. He recalls it differently. I recall it different, man, if you're still watching. But he said we just went ahead and still played Atari. But I remember we jumped up on his bed and like huddled, like scared out of our minds that happened.
Well,
That's
they,
what I
yeah,
remember.
they would freak you out.
Yeah, we were scared, and I think we waited till Dude, if you're listening, I think we waited till your mother got home from work until we got off that bed. I don't know if he's still
Oh, he's
on.
free to put anything in the chat to comment on it.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention that you dated yourself with the what was it, the Atari
Yeah.
2600?
Yeah, I think then he ended up getting the first Nintendo. Yeah. And then Laura also okay, I talked about that shadow person. Man, I can't believe it. We killed an hour already.
Yeah, it goes quick when you're
I,
flapping away.
I know. I was worried that I wasn't gonna be able to fill this up for you.
Oh no, you've gotta, once you start at one point and then it branches off. That's the best
Yeah.
part.
So
What Dennis says, I was gonna say that Atari. Yeah, see, he's dating all of you guys.
yeah, I know. Hey man, they still make those retro Ataris. I got one in the box right now. My
Actually, we've got one that he plugs into the TV and it's
yeah.
just a joystick.
Yeah, I have that. Well, I have that, but it's still like the console. It's like a retro
Oh,
future thing.
okay, yeah.
My wife was like, "Can we get that out for the kids?" I was like, "No, because they're gonna just get it out, and then they're not gonna play it again, and then it's gonna be like not in the box anymore. I like to keep things in the box."
Right.
So okay, yeah. So listen to this one. So my grandma Fusco, this would be my great grandmother. I was telling you about my grandfather and his wife, my grandma. She was a wonderful woman. Well, this would be her mother. So her maiden name was Doyle, and when she got married, so it was Fusco, and her husband, I believe his name was Francis. So he passed away pretty young. I think he was in his like late 50s when he passed away, and it might have been in like the 1960s when he passed away.
Right.
So this is her story, and my grandmother told me this story. So she was on her couch reading the newspaper, and she heard a knock at the door.
Hi, Anita. Welcome.
Hey, Anita. She heard a knock at her door. And I've visited this house. This is also in Buffalo. She heard a knock at her door, goes to answer the door, and her husband had already passed away for 10 years or so. And it was her husband. And she opens up the door and she's like, "Francis, what are you doing here?" And he said, "Oh, Adeline." Her name was Adeline. "Adeline, you look so old."
Oh.
Because obviously she had aged, and
He didn't.
and he didn't. And now I don't know the verbatim, but this is the gist of it. She had said, "Well, I want to go with you. Take me with you." And he had said, "Well, I can't, but when it is your time, I'll be back for you." And then that was it. He turned away and walked down the stairs. And from what I gather, that was like the end of their discussion. But
Wow.
yeah, so he came to visit her on her
Right.
front steps. So that was like something from my great grandmother.
Right.
That went to my grandmother to me.
Now, see, the thing with that story is it's hard because you can't ask the person themselves
Yeah.
details on that happening.
Yep.
Because she could have been sleeping.
Yep. Exactly.
So it could have been a dream.
Yep. Absolutely.
So pretty much, being, on the skeptical side, that's what I would pretty much say. That's what that was.
Yep. Yeah, I know. That's another reason. Yep.
Yeah, because she might have been thinking about him that day.
Right.
And that just, that jumped into. Was she ill at that time, or was it?
Yeah, she's now at that time. I don't know if she was a lifetime diabetic. I know that.
Okay, because normally when people, they always say when you're close to your time that you will dream or see your loved ones.
Oh no, yeah. At that time, no, she had a good 30 years before she passed.
Oh, okay, so I would just chalk that up to just a dream that she had. Maybe she was missing him, and he was on her mind.
Yeah, you know what brings me to the sleep paralysis one?
Right.
I have written down here when I was talking to my dad a few days ago. this story was kicking around the house for a long time. And then I finally asked my dad about it. He was like, I said, can you explain to me that story? He's like, oh yeah. He goes, your mother was asleep. He said, he goes, your mother would always get headaches and she would have to sleep on the couch at night. So she was sleeping on the couch, and in the 70s, we didn't have air conditioning like the ones that go in the window. So she would sleep with the door open, the front door open with the screen shut, obviously screen door shut. And she woke up to an orb out circling her out in front of the door on the porch and out front of like the bay window.
Okay.
She like got up and she was like looking at it flying around, and then it took off. So the only
was there a porch light on?
No, because it was nighttime and she was sleeping, and she got woken up by the light coming into the house.
Oh.
She didn't know if it was a UFO.
All right.
But I said, was it a UFO? And my dad said, no. I said, he was like, it was and I go, an orb? And he goes, yeah, an orb. Now, that could fall under, if we're going to get into the skeptic thing,
right,
sleep paralysis,
Yes.
So I don't know.
Could have been that. Could have been just an insect. But you're saying that she saw light coming through the screen.
Yeah, that's what woke her up, supposedly. Now, that's coming, this is where it trickles down through. It went from my mom to my dad to me.
So yeah, it could have been, that could have been anything, actually. Could have been just a light coming through from another source outside.
Who knows? Yep, exactly.
Because that's how I would think of, okay, car driving by, somebody walking by with a flashlight.
So
shined it to see that the door was open.
So here's here's another thing too that I got to tell you about, that my mother glazed over once. So I would hear about this story that my mother would see a little girl in our house, an apparition of a little girl, and I could remember, like, I'd say like 25 years ago, I asked her about it. It's like, Mom, did you see like a little girl like come down the stairs, like my mother used to sew a lot. She used to sew like wedding dresses, you name it, she'd sew for people, like she was a seamstress, and she had her little setup downstairs in the basement. It was like a finished basement, and she would sit this way, and if you look to the left was the stairs that went up to the main floor of the house. It's a raised ranch house. And the story I got was one day she was sewing and she saw something out of the corner of her eye, and floating down the stairs was this little girl in like a white dress, black hair, white dress. So this is a story I heard, right? This was like when I was little, right? So I asked my mother about it because it was floating around in my head. And again, I was scared to ask her. Well, one day I asked her when I was like an adult, and she was like, no, that never happened. No. And she like said it like that, like pissy.
Okay.
Right. And I was like thinking, that's so odd. Why? Like, what is the matter with me? Like, I'm like, man, what is the matter with me? Like, why do I hear things that aren't true? Like, people are either lying to me, I'm insane. Like, what is happening to me?
Right.
Like, where are these stories coming up from that I'm hearing? And like all of a sudden they're not true. Like, she was like so like emphatic about it. Is that a word? Like, just,
well, she didn't want to admit to it, apparently because of fear.
Yeah, like, what, dude? Like, so all right. So get this. So I'm talking to my dad a few days ago, right? Again, my mom's not around anymore to confirm this stuff. So I'm talking to my dad, and I'm going through these stories. I was telling my dad about these stories that I've had.
Thanks, Dennis.
All right, Dennis,
thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for being here, man. So he goes, well, your mother used to talk about she would see a little girl around here. She'd see a little girl, and I was like, I know. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, she got upset. Like, she didn't want to talk about it.
Right. Oh, because she was afraid.
I guess so. Like,
and it's easier just to not talk about it. So it makes it so it doesn't exist.
He goes, and it was, guess what? It was the same. Because she saw like a little girl like floating down the stairs. I was like, and I didn't, rather than like saying, rather than telling him this story I'm telling you that she got mad and didn't want to
Right.
talk about it, I just was like, yeah, I thought I heard that story before. That's all the way I presented it to him. But yeah, isn't that crazy?
So well, that's what people do. It's better to deny it than to accept it, because then you're afraid because you have
I,
to live there, you know?
yeah,
And
I guess so. But you know what? You know what's crazy? That goes back to that story with the bowl that I started out with,
right.
the green bowl. Like, excuse me, like do these things have anything to do with each other?
They might have.
Yeah, who
They might
knows,
have.
you know?
Yeah, I mean, you didn't have no history on the house, did you?
No, I never looked into it.
Right.
I think it was built, they're all cookie cutter homes built in the 50s. So it's not that old. They weren't that old.
All right. Well, it doesn't have to be
And it
actually. I
doesn't
mean,
have to be.
something.
It could be
Who
where it
knows
was
what happened
the property.
before then? Yeah, the
Yeah.
property. There could have been something there beforehand.
I'll tell you what. So I was huge into metal detecting. And I was metal detecting in the backyard, and I did find a pendant necklace, an old pendant necklace, like from like a little girl.
Right.
Uh, and it was like before like my sister's time. Like my sister's like what 4 years, 5 years older than I am, and digging around and stuff. But like
Right.
who that doesn't mean anything. That's neither here nor there. But who knows? I'm just bringing it
Well,
up.
I mean, for nothing, it could be like you said, the property, maybe the house that was there before that development was made.
Could be. You just
Maybe
never
something
know.
tragic happened and it involved a young girl. I mean, the only way you're going to find out is if you did history on the property to dig up, that information from long ago.
Yeah, absolutely.
And maybe it's just, you guys, whoever it was, developed new homes, and then of course that could have been the reason for the bowl thing
Yeah.
and that apparition. So that's the thing, is everybody doesn't understand it. When you're doing the paranormal investigation, they think you're just going out doing a spook hunt, and it's not what it is. There's a lot of research.
Yeah,
You
I
have to look up a lot of things, just to, because you're pretty much debunking yourself, because the girl, the apparition of the young girl. Okay, so you're gonna find out what happened with that house, the property, who lived there. Was there a little girl that lived there? Was there tragedies? All of that. You have to look all that stuff up.
Yeah, I kind of dig that stuff, because so some people think it's weird. Like my wife and I were this was quite a few years ago. We were at the Madison County, or it was it was some society down at one of the places at the buildings, and they had the cemetery people that like clean the cemeteries and maintain them
Right.
and stuff. And I like made a beeline over to it because I'm interested in that stuff. Why? Because I said to my wife, I go, if you go to like Europe, you look at like their buildings, like okay,
Fantastic.
1100, like it's building like 1100 AD.
Right.
If you look at like our buildings, they're like 200 years old.
Yeah.
What do we have that's old here to like look at and be fascinated by?
Exactly.
A
Hi, Glenda.
headstone.
Welcome.
Like you have
Exactly.
an old headstone. Like I like looking at a headstone and going, died in 1793. Like, holy cow. Like, how old is this headstone? Like, I mean, to me, that's fascinating.
It's history.
That's American history to me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, like a barn could be like a 250-year-old barn. That's cool. But like to me, I look at a cemetery and I go, look at that history, look at that lineage, look at that culture.
Exactly.
That's Americana to me. So like when I see like a busted headstone, I don't like it.
Right.
And there's like guys on YouTube that'll actually they go and restore those. And I actually thought about doing that. And
That's amazing when they do that. Yeah.
right. And so I really kind of dig that kind of thing.
We'll
So
see this with George and I do. I do a lot of cemetery stuff. Actually, I plan on doing a series. I think I told you about Forest Hill Cemetery here.
yeah, yeah.
Because
Beautiful
the
place.
history there is incredible. There's a lot
Yep.
of famous people buried there. George and I, because everybody thinks we're nuts that we do this, but we go there, we get our Dunkin', and we go up and there's 3 ponds in that cemetery, big ponds.
Yeah, they're way
And
up on top in the back.
yeah, you got the big one with the water fountain that's in it. We like to go
Yeah.
up there and sit and watch the deer run through.
Yeah.
And we feed the ducks and the turtles. And in the meantime, we're wandering around reading stones, and names and stuff. And then we write down names and stuff, and then we come home and look it up.
Yeah.
And then you find out, wow, this is what this person did and why they are here. And it's amazing history. I'm just waiting for it to dry up around here so you can actually walk through
Do you
without
ever
being a big mud hole.
do you ever go on findagrave.com?
So if I have to, yeah, if I'm looking for a specific person.
Oh, I do that all the time, man. I found uh my grandma Divins, who's buried out in California, because I only met her twice in my life, and so I was like, oh, I forgot when she passed away and everything. So I typed it in, and it's like, oh, there's people that have their they have like kind of like we have a YouTube channel. They have like a channel for like findagrave.com, and
Right.
they go around and they like take a picture of that one, take a picture of the next one, and they just go to cemeteries and they take a picture of every single headstone and upload them on findagrave.com. And there's my grandmother's. You know,
Oh,
yeah, it's amazing. I'm like, and I
yeah.
told my dad, I go, Dad, did you know that grandma's headstone is on findagrave.com? He's like, yeah, it is. I'm like, yeah. So I pulled it up and showed him. It's like, yeah, because obviously he went out there to go to his mother's funeral. He was like, yeah,
Right.
that's it. Oh my gosh, look
That's
this
it.
on. And yeah, I mean, I think it's awesome that some people might think it's morbid and like, but you know what? No,
It
it's
makes
not.
it easier for you to find people that you're looking for.
Absolutely. Yeah, I
Um,
think it's cool.
so
I love it.
it's a pretty neat thing. So I'm hoping to be able to get that series in this year.
Yeah,
And
I want to I can't wait to see what you're gonna do. And like I said, if
oh, you're more
you
than welcome to join me if you ever want to do it,
yeah,
and we could walk around and check out the stuff because it's pretty neat.
my coffee's cold.
Even the really old section, they've got a section where it's in the lower half of the cemetery that you have to walk to get down there. And there's
Where the gates are? Like where the
it's
big main gates are?
no, this is way in the back top corner,
Oh, like where it's like
old
where Oneida
section.
Street is there? Like
You
it's
go up, yeah, and it's
yeah.
that back corner, but you go down a back road or you go down the side of the hill, and there's tombs there that are all cemented up. And I made a joke to George about it. I says, well, that's where the vampires are buried.
Yeah, yeah.
But they have to be part of the original people that were there when they started the cemetery
Yeah, when did that
because
start?
you
Do
don't
you
even
know?
know they're there
Yeah.
unless
When
you go
did that
nosing
open?
around.
Do you know when that one opened?
Forest Hill,
Yeah.
it was established because they have they say early 1800s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
But I don't think I think it's when it was actually officially opened, but I think that they had people there before then
Right. Yeah.
in the
Like
1700s.
yeah, like it wasn't
Um,
official till like the 1800s
because
or
there
something.
is one section where they like I said, they have Civil War people, a lot of old stones. And there is one section where there's this really freaky looking tree. George won't let me touch it. He calls it the freak
George.
tree because not for
You-
nothing. You guys will get to see it because I eventually will get pictures of it. It doesn't look like it belongs together. The top and the bottom are totally different, and this tree's
What?
dead. Yeah, the tree is dead. And so I joke around with him. I said, well, at night, when it gets dark, it bends over and then it starts crawling all around the cemetery. Because
Oh
if you
man.
look at it, I'm kidding. If you see this tree, that's exactly what it looks like it would do. So I think that would be a perfect section to do some kind of like horror thing because that's what we call it, the freak tree. Uh,
So it's like half man, half horse.
yeah, Count Dracula's up there. I wouldn't doubt it, Jan, because like I said, they have them. There's like 3 or 4 of them. They're all cemented up, and I
Yeah.
know they did that back in the day because of grave robbers.
What's that?
When people didn't want to go, people would go in and rob graves.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, I thought you said Ray
No,
Roberts.
yeah, grave robbers.
Grave robbers. Yeah, yeah, totally.
So yeah, they would block that all off to prevent anybody stealing.
Yeah, totally.
But we're gonna have to get down in there and get the names down and do some research to find out who they are.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Because they've been there a long time. But there's so many famous people in that cemetery that I just like, and nobody shares any of that information, so you don't even know he's there.
I know.
Half of that stuff is there. So
I do though, because you know why? Because like I said, I love researching that stuff. I always type in like famous people at such and such cemetery. Yep.
right.
Yeah.
Even though, like I said, George would write down names and then he would go research when he get home, but he's more interested in the deer.
Yeah, not
So when
me.
I start doing this, I'm gonna have to either go by myself or like I said, if you're more than welcome to come with me
Yeah.
and we could walk through and do some filming and some and some research. But
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
when the deer start coming through, that's when George
The camera swings that way.
he goes, "Oh, look at that," or it's and yes, they're beautiful, but I can't do any serious work when he's around.
You're gonna be like, "All right, welcome. This is Laura. Welcome to the raw side," and like the camera's gonna be like focusing in on like a deer in the background.
Right. Well, you'll hear in the background, "Holy shit, look," You can't say that, George.
You'd be like, yeah, there's turkeys and
There's everything up there.
yeah, and it's like toward the back too, like way up top. It just turns into woods, and then there's like a track up there, right? The
Well, they
track
cut
and
through from
yeah,
the ski chalet.
right.
They
Yep.
cut through there, then they hit the first cemetery, which is New Forest Hill.
Yeah.
Then they cut into Old Forest Hill, then into Calvary, and then they head out towards New Hartford direction.
Yeah. I think it's
So and
been
then there's
like,
just yes, a trail that they follow.
and then it eventually hits like a golf course up there and all that too,
It's
right?
it's all
Yeah.
going through. Well, they've got like nursing homes or not nursing homes,
Oh, how convenient.
independent living homes, for the elderly,
Right.
all up through there, and then they make their way towards like West Winfield and all of
It's a
that. So
one-stop shop, like
yeah, they just make their way through.
nursing home, funeral home, right to Forest
Yeah.
Hill.
Oh yeah, that's. But yeah, every year we get a lot of crap. For why do you have that's creepy hanging up out there? No, it's not. It's peaceful.
No, yeah, I have a friend that uh her house is right on Route 46 over here, and there's there's actually like a creek that runs a creek bed that runs in between uh graves, and they're washing away, and you could see the caskets.
Oh boy, that's bad.
Yeah, yeah. She told me like she was my old boss, so she's like you could see the caskets are like ready to like fall out. Yeah, it's messed up.
Oh jeez. Well, see, the problem is a lot in this area. Like I said, with the cemeteries that we were just talking about, a lot of underground water.
Yeah,
The New Forest Hill is a lot of slate base underneath that dirt. So, of course, back in the 1800s, 1700s, they didn't use the cement boxes. They dug a hole and threw the box in.
right, exactly. Yeah,
So, the majority of the people that are buried, well, you think they aren't
yeah, and it's on Forest Hill
because
is
they
on a hill.
slide. Yeah.
Forest Hill, yeah, it's yep.
It slides because of the water problem and the slate. My husband, when he was younger, did work at one of those cemeteries, and he was the groundskeeper, and he was doing something. He had to dig a hole for something,
Yeah.
and it was a spot where there wasn't supposed to be anybody.
Oh,
Hit the shovel in the ground, and he was like, "Boom!" He's like, "Oh, what the heck was that?" So he's
yeah.
the first thinking, "Okay, tree root, rock." Nope. Started digging some more, and then he ended up busting through. He's like, "Oh no!"
No
He
way,
ended up
really.
busting through. Yeah, busting through a casket that wasn't supposed to be there. So all he
Wow.
could do was fill the hole in. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's and the older the better.
Yeah,
Excuse me. When we drive around and we spot a really old cemetery, we pull over and we check it all out
yeah, and
because
you
you
know,
never know who's going to be there.
and a lot of people don't know too is if like they're usually underground, but at the way bottom, I don't think so much. I don't think on new headstones, but at the way bottom, there's usually a signature of the scriber on the headstones who carved them.
Oh
Yeah,
wow, I didn't know that.
like like the old limestone ones that you can't
Right.
read. And even on the ones that you can read, usually the headstones have sunk into the ground. You can't see them. But back in the day, they were up where you could. So there'd be like a cursive writing, or you might see some writing way at the right hand bottom, or it could be at the left hand bottom. But like whoever carved all that nice intricate work, um, not Celtic knotting and all that stuff.
Right.
There's the artist's name is at the bottom on the headstones. It's pretty
Oh, I'm
cool.
gonna check that out. I didn't know that
Yeah,
they did that.
yeah. So sometime if like you ever see one that's like knocked over or something, and you can see those finally, like if you ever see something that's like at the bottom, you're like, wonder what that is. That's usually the artist's name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty
See,
cool.
learn something new every day, guys.
Yeah, I
I
love
never knew that.
yeah, I love I like headstones, man. I wish I could do that restoration stuff.
So like I was saying, the Forest Hill has some amazing stones and monuments.
Yeah.
I mean, when
I
you
haven't
guys
been
see
there in
these
a long time.
pictures, it blows my mind because a lot of these are like 1800s and whatever. How did they get them up there? Because they are huge.
Yeah,
These
it's
things are
crazy.
gigantic, so they had to be done in pieces.
Yeah, yeah, horse and wagons
Because
and
horse
just
and wagon
yep,
up hills.
yep.
It just blows my mind. It really does. Okay, let's see. Let's get another question out to you. Actually, you could just finish with the stories because I'm asking about your experiences.
Oh yeah, you know what?
Um,
So I told you, let me see. Oh, okay, yeah, you know what? Let me tell you about the trailer park thing. All right, so I told you about in North Utica we had a fire and
right.
uh we had to leave our home for 9 months. That's when we moved to Buffalo. And because of my grandfather, we my mother uprooted us from Buffalo. My mother got into a fight with my grandfather, her father, because he was so mean to me and my brother.
Right.
Um, so she was like, "That's it, we're leaving." I can remember, and we stayed in a hotel for like, oh geez, it had to be a month or so, and in Utica, and my father was like, "We're gonna get a trailer to rent till our home is rebuilt." Because they rebuilt our home. Um, our fire happened during the winter. So when the
Oh
firemen
boy,
sprayed our house was ice.
just a giant ice cube.
Yeah,
Right.
I was 9 years old. So when this thing happened, I must have been about 10 now because 9 months in Buffalo, moved back.
Right.
The trailer park this happened in was in Schuyler. Now it's in Schuyler. Um,
Okay.
uh, up Herkimer Road, and it was called Button Ball Trailer Park. Now it's like,
I've heard of that. Yes.
yeah, now it's Strawberry Fields or something. It's
Yes, I
called.
know what you're talking about.
There's a roller skating rink. It used to be across the street from it.
Right.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Anyways, so uh, there's three things that happen. I used to collect stuffed animal penguins. I used to have a fascination with penguins. I love penguins. I don't anymore. I don't collect penguins. I don't care about them. But anyways, I had stuffed animal penguins, and
Uh,
I must have had. So picture about if you put all of my stuffed animal penguins together, a yardstick, probably 3 feet long, and I had them on my dresser. Now, me and my brother, it was a 3 bedroom trailer uh, in this trailer park. So my parents had the master bedroom, my sister had her room, and me and my brother had to share a room. I had a
right.
bed, and my brother had a cot next to me, and that's it. So, and on the
I
dress.
wasn't gonna say anything, Jan, but yeah.
Oh, you do? It's haunted. No,
Yes, she does. That's why I
no,
was not
actually,
saying.
my mother-in-law and a friend of mine lives in Strawberry Hills. It's super nice there now, and
Yeah,
actually,
yes.
it's not Strawberry Hills. I'm sorry. It's the one next door to Strawberry Hills. It's actually next. It's not that one. It's next to it. There's a pizza shop, a pizza joint.
On the
It's that
corner.
one. Yeah. Anyways, it's not Strawberry Hills. It's
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 the one
not
next
yours.
to it.
Yeah, it's the one next to it. So, anyways, so I went to bed, and all the penguins are on my dresser, and in no particular order. Well, the next morning I woke up, and they were in order from smallest to biggest. I can remember asking my mother in the morning if she had done that, and button ball. It's still
Yes, the
called
button
button ball.
ball's next.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah, that's where I lived. And I asked my mother if she had straightened those out, and she said no. And I thought, yep, that's the place. And she said no, that she didn't. And I thought that was odd
Right.
because I woke up the next morning and I saw all my penguins were in like from smallest to biggest.
Right.
Okay, weird. And I can't tell you like, oh, and then 2 days later this happened, so I don't know the time because I was 9 years old. I was 10 years old, so this was a long time ago. 40 years to go to be exact. So
Oh, hi, Jeff.
this other time, uh I had a Star Wars X-wing fighter. This is big time stuff here. Um, it was in the closet. This is at night. It started. So the closet door would like slide. It was a sliding closet door. The door, the closet door. I don't remember it being open. My mother was a very clean person. The
Right.
closet door. She took care of us boys. The closet door was shut. Well, I can remember waking up to the X-wing fighter. It had like a noise that would like it had like a laser thing that you'd push
Right.
on it, and
Right.
it would just if you pushed it, it would just constantly make the laser noise
Right.
until you released it. I can remember it going off during the night. Now my brother laid next to me on a cot, and I like woke up and it was going off. And I can remember the closet door being open like this, and on the tip of the X-wing fighter had a little LED light
Right.
that was red. And I
Right. Yeah, I
look
remember.
over, and the tip of that laser thing was like sticking out of the closet,
Ah,
and it was going off, and it wouldn't stop. And I like looked down at my brother, and I'm thinking he's not waking up. Why isn't he waking up to see this? And finally, after like a while, it stopped. It stopped making noise. But in my head, I'm thinking, well, it's battery operated. Maybe like the batteries are funky or something.
yeah,
Yeah,
maybe
I
they're on
always
the
think
way
that.
out.
Yes, exactly. Here's the last story, and this is like the biggest one with the trailer park thing.
But the thing I want to know is, how did the closet door open?
That was the thing. I don't understand how the closet door opened. And that tip of the thing was like sticking out.
Right. So even if you just had noise from the toy, you could say, okay, probably bad
Yep.
batteries.
Yep.
Or maybe something fell off of the shelf
Mm-hmm.
and landed on the button and it was sitting on it.
Yep.
But the
Yep.
thing is, you said the closet door was closed. How did that open?
Exactly. See, I always thought like, well, again, when you try to like make sense of things, I thought, well, maybe my brother hit into it and it opened up. But I was looking up at it, thinking, how is the tip sticking out? How is the tip of the X-wing fighter nose sticking out? The like light. How is this happening? It's like
Right.
it seems to be like it was on the top shelf, but it would fall off the shelf if the tip was sticking out. Like, and then it shut off, and then like you're tired, so you go back to sleep. That's what happens. You go back to sleep.
Right.
So now the next one. I wake up middle of the night, and my bed is shaking violently. Like you ever go to the paint store and they shake paint for you?
Right. Yep.
Like that.
Wow.
Like one is on one bedpost, a paint shaker on all four bedposts. Like that. That's how
Wow.
bad yeah, that's how bad. If that's how I could describe, I try to describe the bed shaking to people, and that's what I've come up with.
Right.
How bad the bed was shaking.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So I wake up and I sit up in the bed, and the bed is violently shaking like that. And I look down at my brother, and I try to like focus in on him with my like I'm like going like that to see if it's him doing it. And my brother, I should say, is a year and a half older than me, 2 years older than me, and I'm thinking it's him doing it. Um, but as I'm like focusing my eyes, and I could see that he's not doing it. But I go, my brother's name was Frank. I go, Frank, like that. And as soon as I yelled Frank, the bed stopped shaking instantly.
Okay.
And then I could see that he didn't move, like he didn't like take his hand away. By the way, he would have been 11 and a half, 12.
Right.
The strength to do that to my bed. He was skinnier than me.
Right.
There's no way he could have done this. In my head, I'm going, there's no way that my brother could be doing this to me.
And there was like no reports of like earthquake the next day.
Right. No. Nothing
Okay.
else in the room was doing that.
Right.
I go, Frank. And when it stopped, I could hear like, when somebody's in a deep sleep when they're breathing.
Mm-hmm.
My brother was like a snorer type breather type. And I go, Frank. And I like shook him awake. He's like, whoa. Like an annoyed, like, why are you waking me up?
Right.
And I go, "Were you shaking the bed?" And he goes, "No." Then he went back to sleep.
And there was no other sound or anything going on in the room, just the shaking.
That was it. It was a constant shake too, um, not like just like a little bit and then a little bit more and then like, like it was like a paint can shaker thing.
Violent shaking.
Oh, big time, man. Like I was completely woken up like that.
Wow.
That was a frightening, that was scary.
Anything else happen in that room?
That was it. And as far as the stories go for that, from that trailer park, that was it. And then I had asked my father about that place. I said, "Dad, do you know anything about that place? Did anything ever happen there? Do you know a history on it?" He goes, "No." He goes, "They brought that trailer in there when we rented it. So that trailer wasn't there. It was like,
Originally.
yeah." He was like, "Hey, we need to rent a place." They're like, "Oh, we have a lot for you and we're going to bring a trailer in." So, yeah.
Oh, yeah, so you have nothing on the trailer
Right.
itself or
Yeah.
what was going on there at
And
all,
yeah, and
or
I'm sure that trailer's long gone. So, yep.
See, this is the thing it always gives when you have stories like this, I'm always, because it happens when you're a kid. So you don't think of, well, gee, should I look for this or should I look for that? Or like again, changes in the room temperature. You know, what's going around you besides the shaking of the bed.
Yeah.
Being that young, you don't think of those things. But then now when you're talking about them now, because that's the first thing that pops in my head. Okay, what else was going on in the room
Yeah.
um,
And
to cause that?
the thing is too, again, being scared of my mom. My dad was, just so you know, you might say, "Well, why not talk to your dad?" My dad was always at work. He was
Right,
a traveling serviceman. He would go and service machines for like military and stuff, and
right.
so he was never home. So maybe that's why my mom was always so angry, because she'd have to take care of us
She
kids.
was
But
all
like,
yeah on her own. Yeah,
yeah, so like again, I wouldn't tell my mother about these things that would happen. So yeah, exactly what. Yep.
yeah.
We were just talking about that. Um yeah, Boo Productions. We were just talking about that, I think probably like an hour ago. Um
Right, yeah, because Jeff could have had some great input for the beginning stories that you
oh
told. Um,
yeah,
'Cause yeah, that's the thing is he's right. We like I said, the walls aren't up yet.
yeah.
Because we're young. But and then that's why I ask questions like, well, gee, because that happened to me when I was younger in our house. But come to find out, there was an earthquake during the night because I thought it was my sister shaking the bed,
Oh
and I'd
yeah.
be like, "Oh, Lisa, knock it off." And then the next morning, my father goes, "Oh, did you feel the tremors?" So that explained the shaking of the bed.
Oh wow, yeah.
So that's why I asked if that's what happened to you. Oh, I was on a case call. Oh,
Oh dude, you'll have to watch from the beginning,
work,
man.
work, work, Jeff. Work, work, work.
Excuse me, sorry. Um yeah, so actually, Laura, let me tell you about the nursing home one. I can't
Okay.
believe, yeah, because wow, it's already 8:38. Holy cow. Um
You got
I
a
can't
date?
believe it's I can't I can't believe it's the time has gone by. Um so the nursing home one. So after I got done working with you, I went to go work for a nursing home. I had thought that I wanted to be a nurse,
Right.
an RN. So I figured, all right, well, what's a good way to get into the frame of mind? So I thought I'd be a CNA, a certified nurse's aide.
Right.
So that didn't work out, but I met some great people. I really liked working with the elderly, actually. Um, if there was a job where you could just sit and speak with the elderly, I would be all for it. Just sit and talk and like comfort them, and
Right.
I would love it, because I really dig that part. But anyway, there was a woman, Celeste. I'll never forget her. Very nice woman, but she was, just so you know, the home that I worked at was not like an end of life home. It was sort of like not an assisted living, but a lot of people got injured. Then they would rehab them and then they'd send them home.
Send him home. Okay. Yeah.
But this in particular woman, that didn't happen for her. She ended up getting sick. And so that's what this poor lady's story is. I go into her room. I used to work, what was it, second shift. So it was like 11 till, no, 3 to 11 or something like that. So this was like probably 10 o'clock at night. I'm getting towards the end of my shift. And she's complaining that she's hot. Mind you, it's like a blizzard outside. This is during the winter. It's super cold
Right.
out. Probably, 15 degrees. I remember it snowing very hard out. And she's like panting and she's like, oh, I'm so hot. I'm so hot. And I was like, okay, well, what do you want me to do? She's like, open the window. Open the window. So I open up the window and she's like, oh, okay. Wait. It's too cold. It's too cold. Close the window. Close the window. And I go, close the window, open the window. Okay. So I close the window and she's like, oh, no. Open the window. Open the window. Open the window. Yeah. Open the window. So I open the window and she goes, and she's in bed. She's laying down and she dies.
Oh.
And I'm at the window and I look over and she
Hi,
does
Morning Rain.
hey, Morning Rain, how are you? And she does sort of a little bit of a death rattle
Okay.
breath. And I was like, so I'm pretty new. I'm a pretty new certified nurse's aide. I've never dealt with the post-mortem or the mortality part side, but
Right.
I've been warned about it. Now, everybody else there are all seasoned people, okay? Not me. I go, Celeste. I run over to her. I don't know what to do, really. What I should have done was pulled the blue cord on the wall for them to come in and
And check
resuscitate
her.
her. Yes.
Right.
But I don't know what I'm doing. So I'm going, Celeste. And I'm shaking her. I'm like in the movies or something. I take her shoulders and I shake life back into her. She comes back to life.
Oh.
She wakes up and goes, first thing she says is shut the window. That's the first thing she says. She's like, ugh. She comes back, takes a breath, and goes, close the window. Close the window. And I was like, okay. I go over, I walk over, and it's probably to the windows, probably a good 8 feet away. I walk
Okay.
back over and I shut the window. The room is freezing cold, by the way, because I've got the window open. She wanted it open. That's what I was thinking too. I'm like, gosh,
Well,
it's
why is she
freezing.
hot? Right. What is going on? Is
I'm
she's
thinking it's
hot?
freezing in here. She wants it open. That's why
Right.
I'm going, open the window. Okay. So that I shut the window and I'm like, are you okay? And blah, blah. She's like, oh yeah, I'm okay. I get her ready for whatever I had to do. I think I was getting her ready for bed, get her settled back in, and everything seems to be status quo now. So everything seems to be fine. So I go, all right, I think I leave the room. I go back to the nurse's station, which is, a good 50 yards back in the epicenter of the nursing home. And this dude, Mike, I'll never forget Mike. He's like the man. He was showing me the ropes of the place. Oh, that guy, be careful of him. He'll throw poop at you. Be careful of this guy. He'll yeah, seriously. That's
Right.
verbatim. He said that to me.
Right.
He'll trick you to get you to shake his hand, but he'll have poop in his hand. Don't touch his hands. That guy over there, he was cool. He goes, what's the matter? I go, dude, I think Celeste just died, and then came back to life. He goes, yeah, they do that. I go, I look at him. I go, what? He goes, well, why? What happened? I go, well, he goes, they do that, and he goes, just make sure you open up the window. Yep.
All right. What is the connection with the window?
Just wait a minute. just make sure you open the window. And I go, what? He goes, yeah, so their spirit could leave.
All right. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Dude. And then I go, dude, she asked me to open up the window. He goes, yeah, yep. All a
So
matter of fact,
there was commonplace there.
the way that he did it was commonplace for him. Yeah, morning rain. Let's do it.
Okay.
So now, going back to what you and I were like, so we're getting close to wrapping up. Going back to like Laura, what you and I were talking about when we first started about how this, like what my beliefs are, like with the Bible
Right.
and everything. When we die instantly, but what happened to her? If she died instantly, what, she went out a freaking window? I just,
Well,
it's
I've heard
crazy.
that before. They say open the window to let the spirit out, but
Yeah,
I've never heard people requesting somebody to
yeah.
open the window.
I
That's
couldn't. She like. So here's what, like, imagine what I was thinking about this other day. What did that look like for her?
right.
I'll let the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, that's what the Grim Reaper. Side eye guy. Side eye guy
Okay.
crawled through somebody's window.
So imagine, Laura, imagine what that, I was thinking about this. What did that look like for, her name was Celeste. What did that look like for Celeste? Imagine me. She probably, because she died. She probably
day?
yeah. No,
Okay.
she died.
Oh, yeah,
She
but you said
died, and I
came
shook
back.
her. I shook her. She was dead. And I shook her. She was dead. When I was standing over top of her, she was dead. And then I was shaking her. She was probably leaving herself, and she probably saw me.
Right. Panicking.
Yeah. And then, like, she probably went back in as I was, she probably, like, saw the nurse's aide guy shaking her and went back in. Because I was thinking about the other day. I was like, yeah, I know what I saw, but I wonder what Celeste saw.
But she did actually die, though. She after you left the room.
So yeah, so let me tell, yeah. So I'm not,
Okay.
yeah. So next day I go to work. So when our shift starts, they go into this room where you have a whiteboard, and it says like, John Doe, Celeste Smith, blah blah blah. So there's Celeste's name, right? Celeste status expired.
Oh.
So they're going down the line, right? Okay, John Smith has urinary tract infection. Just watch out, guys. Make sure his catheters so and so. They have blah 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 going on. Just make sure you look at that. Celeste expired. Jimmy, he's doing. And I'm like, whoa, wait. Celeste, she died. Yeah, she died last night. Why? They're doing her postmortem now. Do you want to go say goodbye? I'm like, no. Like the postmortem, somebody's got to clean you up because everything releases.
Right.
They wanted to know if I wanted to do it. Like, she just passed away just before, like, I got in, and I was like, no thanks, I don't want to do it. They're like, they go, because we knew you were close to her, and I go, no, thank you, and they're like, no, yeah, no, Bill, you can go. We knew you were close to her. If you want to go, because that's like your wing. If you want to. Nah, I think I'm good. So I didn't know how to handle. I think I would have been probably. I'm older now. I've dealt with a lot of deaths in my life. I've been pallbearers for like 20 people. I've done lots of that stuff, but never like the hands-on thing before. Okay,
Right.
but maybe now I would, just because who's gonna do it? Somebody has to. Like, so okay, but I didn't. So I knew the coroner. They go, oh, the coroner is in there now. I'm like, oh, the coroner. Okay, great. So I go, all right. I know Celeste's room is down there, and I have to go past Celeste's room. I just not even look in there. I don't want to have to see this. So as I'm walking down, just as I'm right about to pass Celeste's room, out comes the body bag. Yeah, it was just, everything was like surreal. Like, just like if you're gonna like T-bone a car, like go, crash.
You're right there, yeah.
Because I was like, I'm gonna walk really fast and walk right past her room, and like I was like, so I like was like walking fast, and like they come right out, like not like a guy first to see if like he's gonna hit anybody. No,
they just plow through.
Yes, like her on a car in a black bag, and and I almost like ran right into it. Yeah, she died. she
Your
died the
thoughts
next.
on that? I mean, do you think that because they say that's commonplace that they do that, but do you think that because you were in such a panic, she come back to put you at ease?
Jeez, good question. I, I don't know. Laura, to this day, it perplexes me. I found it fascinating.
Right.
The thing I found most fascinating was Mike. Mike, the charge nurse guy. He was like, "Oh yeah, they do that. Just make sure
Right.
you open up the window." I was like,
Yeah,
"What?"
because see, Morning Rain agrees. She thinks that, yeah, that's she come back to put you at ease
Yeah, because like
because
I
of
was
the
in such.
panic.
Yeah, because I really liked her, and to this day, I remember her name, Celeste.
Right.
So she was a really nice lady. Yeah,
And
and you know what? Let me tell you something else. The people there, the they really liked me there. She saw you freaking out. Yeah, that could
yeah,
be.
and waited, yeah,
Yeah.
and waited for you to leave, and then she passed on.
I mean that is actually that kind of makes me tear up a little bit
It's
in a nice way.
right, because it is you do freak out a lot of people.
You
It's
know, come to think of it, I think I might have signed paperwork for her. They needed a peop her family came in and did like a attorney control of and I think I was like a witness for her too.
right.
I think I helped with that too. I think I was kind of close. The family really liked me too. And that's why I didn't want to do her post mortem. I think too, because I really she was a nice lady.
You
I
were
liked all my
attached.
yeah. I liked. In fact, there was one guy there that like wouldn't eat. He was like just. They were like, "Oh, you get to feed Tony." I'm like, "Who's Tony?" They're like, "Oh, you'll find out who Tony is." He was like really mean, and like I came back with an empty tray. They're like, "You got him to eat?" And I was like, "Yep,
There you go.
yeah."
The
So
grouchy guy down at the end of the hallway.
mm,
There's always the grouchy guy.
yeah, I always got, and they always gave me the mean people. It
Oh,
was
nice.
yeah, they did because they're like, Bill will get him to do it. Yeah. It didn't
On
work
off
in
on
my
the new
favor.
guy.
Yeah, because they knew that I like had a kind of a way with the people like
Right.
because I enjoyed dealing with the old folk. I really did. I liked it. So
Well, that's the problem. Maybe that's your calling.
it used to be, but it was, you know what? I didn't like the other nurses, the RNs. I didn't really like. It was them that made it not fun.
Right. Well, because
So
they're strictly business. It's
they were mean to. They were like,
yeah,
I would
they're
go,
very
oh
cold.
yeah,
And there's a
maritime.
reason for that. My sister-in-law was that way. You have to put the walls up because they can become so attached to all of them. She
I
says if I
guess,
didn't put
yeah.
up that wall and act that way, she says I would be crying all the time, every day.
I guess, but there was one lady. She'd be like, I remember I was going like, "Oh, Janet's crying," and she'd be like, "She's always crying," but like this poor lady be like, "My family's never here to come, never comes to see me," and I'd be like,
Oh,
and I would come out like almost in tears for her, and
right.
they'd be like, "What's the matter with you?" I'm like, "Oh, just Janet's making me feel like oh," and I don't know.
See,
I,
wow, that's
I don't operate that way. I don't know. It's
those are
just
nurses that have been in it for a long
I know.
time.
And
Yeah,
it's kind of unfortunate because it really conditions them, and they didn't start out that way. It's kind of probably like a
right.
politician. They didn't start out to do it like that, but
Right, but after a while, you just build up that shell, and
yeah, exactly.
so, yeah, they would be an experience for me too because uh, I was never in the room when someone was passing. It was always after the fact.
Right.
So yeah, I didn't experience anything like that.
Yeah, when my mom passed, like I wasn't there. Like she passed away at their house at the very end.
Right,
Uh, I got there about 10 minutes after. I was there for you know to see them take her away and stuff. But I was there for the last 10 days. With hospice wasn't there. They weren't there at all. I was there
right.
to take care of her though. Yeah. So
Well, that's good for you.
yeah. But you know what? I had the experience. Like
Right,
my siblings didn't, and I tell you, all that training kicked in. It really did.
sure,
Like
that's good.
roll and manipulate like a person that can't move. That helped.
So actually, if you think about it, that's the path that you were supposed to be on to do what you had to do in the future.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that's incredible. So do you have any other stories, or does anybody have any questions that they want to ask
No, you
about
know what? Yeah, I'm glad I fit them all in. So yeah.
about Bill's experiences? And actually, like I said, this was, um, his views as far as a Christian, because, like I said, everybody knows that the first thing that most of them run to is, well, it was the devil. It was the devil. But
Yeah.
I don't believe that at all. And you could still be a Christian and still believe that there is uh, family members or other people that are coming back to visit or make contact for some reason whatsoever, whether it's for their reasons, or maybe you're having a bad time and you need comfort. They're coming here to comfort you. A lot of people won't think of it that way. Um, but it's always been a taboo thing as far as, the Christian groups. And it's a shame that they always have to fall back on, oh, it was the devil or it was a demon. Or there's definitely a difference between a demon visitation compared to just spirit coming to visit. Um,
I think there's something there. There has to be, and I think it has something to do with, like, I mean, we could probably do like another 6 hours on my thoughts on like quantum physics and theory of relativity and all that stuff too.
well,
So
yeah,
yeah,
and there's
I'm huge into that.
it's well, I would there is it is a different dimension, so I think that
If
that's why
if
it's a
you
lot of times I think it's hard difficult for them to cross over to contact or to interact with us because you're breaking through a barrier.
you guys should if sorry Laura, I was gonna say if
Okay.
real quick, um if anybody who's watching should look into I kind of touched base with it real quick on with Laura, but Einstein's spooky uh what was it spooky relativity, spooky theory.
Right.
That just type it in and holy cow, that'll like blow your mind, man.
Right. Now, see, Jeff's got a good guy to chat with this because, like I said, he's, they have their beliefs as well, but it's just a different from others. Let's see. Morning Rain says, I agree. Absolutely. I would love to hear that. Yes, we should touch base on all of that. I think it's either just because it's taboo because people don't want to step on anybody's beliefs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I agree. That's why I don't do this. This is my safe zone. This is your safe zone. Everybody's
Right.
safe zone. You can get your opinion out there without being offensive.
Yeah, I think so too. Definitely.
Because not everybody's going to believe as you or I or everybody in the chat. It's everybody has their own opinion.
Yeah, I think that's totally what we accomplish here today too.
Right. You getting out what you believe as a born again Christian. Yes, you do believe in the teachings of the Bible, but you also put that aside because you want to analyze the unknown.
Yeah, because like I said, I've just gave out a bunch of things that I've had happen to me, and it's undoubtedly happened to me. So I can't deny it.
Right.
So
it is what it is. And nobody says that you don't have to not believe in something as far as the religious aspect goes.
yeah.
But there, just like anything else in the world, we all say it, everybody knows it. There's good and there's evil. It's
Yeah.
it's an even, it has to be that balance.
Yeah. Boo, that's Jeff, right?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah. Jeff said something too the other day, like when he was on, it was really cool. Man, I wish I remember what it was, but it was something about I was talking about something he did too. I wish I could remember. it was something integral though, like about where he goes with investigations, and doesn't like he's basically not also reaching into the pockets of people too.
All right.
It
Thanks,
was
Anita. Thanks for joining. 2 a.m. God bless you, honey. I can't stay
oh
up that late.
geez, 2 in the morning.
So I appreciate it a great deal.
Two in the
Sleep
morning.
well.
Where is she?
Ooh, 2 a.m. She's got to be in the UK,
UK or
right?
something? Oh man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Jeff, would you like to join in on the conversation? It would be easier than typing it out.
yeah, it was. I think it was Japanese. Oh, awesome, man! Thank you so much for being here, Anita. Good night.
I don't know if that'll work or not. I could just send it to you another way, Jeff. Yeah, they like I said, it's a taboo. Yes, she's in England.
That's pretty
Someday
sweet.
I'll get there. I have to get over my fear of flying. And once I do, I'll get there.
I love flying. It's the process I can't stand. I got stuck in Detroit, and oh my, when I went to go get pick up my tractor trailer
Right.
to do my training and stuff. Oh my gosh, Laura, dude, just stay home. I'm telling you, just stay home. I mean, it would be great to go visit England, but I'd love to go to Scotland actually.
Oh, me too. Hi, Rebecca. Welcome. Okay, Jeff. It's okay. He's
Quadruple.
multitasking. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he's
yeah, you
probably.
get
Are you editing, Jeff?
it.
I know
Probably.
I was editing. Oh, Laura, my next video, 37 minutes.
That's the best you can do.
Hey man, things happen. I edited it down as much as I could, but 37 minutes is
When I
short.
start getting my stuff in, I'm just going to send it all to you
Yeah, you could just I'll just do it for you.
until I figure out the editing thing. I just, if it was me, I would just throw it on there and that's it. But you got to make it look nice, I guess.
Well, I tell you what, like reason why it takes me so long is because I have an infatuation with music, and if it has to fit. And
Right.
what takes me so long is I take a long time trying to figure out what music goes with stuff. And I'm gonna start like doing my own because I play guitar and drums, and I have a studio behind me that like I have all my own stuff, and I probably should start playing my own music and incorporating
Probably.
that. But then how long is my videos gonna start taking me?
Yeah.
Yeah, look
Then
at this.
your wife will never see you.
Listening to you guys. Oh, thanks, brother. I appreciate it. Jeff, I'm sorry I keep getting. It was something about like anyways, it was dude, I just liked what you had to say. It was about like I think what really was the lady thought she was possessed or something, and what you thought was she more needed like a
Mental
psychiatric
health.
yeah,
Yeah.
psychiatric evaluation. And dude,
Yep.
like that's what I like about what I was saying about Laura's channel and people like you, how you could totally take advantage of that situation and go, oh, I see a cash cow here. But that's what I like how that's what I like about people like about him and Laura and this whole thing that Laura's doing, and the other young kid that's on.
Dawson.
Yeah, and everybody. So that's what I really dig about actually watching the channel. I wasn't expecting your channel to be the way it is, Laura, and it was like a really pleasant surprise actually.
Oh, thank you. Oh, because
Yeah.
everything's all paranormal. What's
No.
this going to be
Yeah,
about?
it's misleading, and so is the name of my show, Carbs and Coffee. But actually, that dude Dennis that was on earlier, he subscribed to you too.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
I
he
didn't see
because
it.
yeah, he subscribed. I think because I told him I was going to be on, he subscribed to you because he wanted to be in the chat. So, but yeah. What
Yes.
do you say, dude? I hate looking for music and play guitar as well, and I want to do my own. Yeah, dude. I want to start like reaching out to. I actually want to reach out to musicians to send me music to put on my videos. I've done that before, and they were like, "Yeah, dude, it'd be like $20 per song," and I'm like, "No." I'm like, I would give you credit, like in the video, like that's not nah. I'll just use Epidemic Sound. I pay like $200 a year for Epidemic Sound, and I'll just do that. but I thought maybe I could reach out to other musicians and do it that way. But
Right.
then they wanted me to like pay them, and I get it, yeah. But I thought it would be like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours.
Yeah, it doesn't always work that
No,
way.
and it didn't. And I was like, yeah, forget that. I'll just do Epidemic Sound, and I can get some killer songs. Oh, please do, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, if anybody gets a chance, subscribe to Bill, his channel. Go ahead, advertise the channel there, Mr. Bill.
Oh yeah. So if you like listening to like a Scotch Irish sort of Italian guy that talks like he's Italian but is not really Italian.
Pseudo Italian.
Pseudo Italian. He's from Chutica. He's from Central New York, so that's why he sounds like this. And yeah, so I do like sort of tutorials. They're not really tutorials, but yeah, I just work on cars and motorcycles. It depends on the flavor of the day. It really, honestly, it depends on if I have to get a four-wheeler moved and working, that's what I work on. If my wife's car needs brakes done, a brake job, that's what I'm working on. Like right now, the exhaust system is actually falling off of her Kia. So the Kia is going to get another Kia video.
Next video.
Yeah, next video is a Kia video. Actually, the next video that's going to be coming out is a follow-up video to that Rubicon salvage yard, because I have like 3 hours of footage of that I have to put together. So that's going to be the next video. So yeah, if you guys like any of that stuff and music and 80s music and heavy metal, that's what's all in there. Oh, and
there you go.
Bossa Nova music and jazz
and a little bit of coffee.
And of course, always coffee. Thanks, Laura. I forgot about that.
Hey, man, I'm here to help. That's
Yeah.
It's like the cleanest junkyard I've ever seen,
dude. They're not. I mean, they've been around for like say 10 years or so. And I used to go to this other one called Vince's U-Pull, and that place is.
Yes, I've been there.
Yeah, that place is like a mess, and they have like older cars,
right?
Like more like 90s cars and stuff. Rubicon and those guys. So when I went and I was like, hey, can I like film, please? And that dude was like, yeah. He was
free advertisement.
Dude, he was like, that dude was like psyched. He was like, please do. He goes, Bill, have at it. Do whatever you want. He goes, just don't film inside. Like, and there's nothing to film inside. It's just a cash register. He's like, but he goes, do what you want. He goes, he's like shaking my hand. He was like super psyched. And yeah, he's like, come back anytime. So yeah, it was cool.
Right. Morning Ring wants to know, it's just called Carbs and Coffee?
Yes. Yep. Carbs as in carburetors. And I'm actually working on a carburetor this time.
All right.
Even though mostly everything's fuel injection now.
So that's true.
Yeah.
So they're making it today where you can't even repair your own vehicles.
Yeah, that's why I have like an awesome scan tool. It costs about $1,200. So.
Yeah, Joseph has the same thing. So he could scan what's going on with his vehicle and.
Yeah, it'll like communicate with my car, and it'll like run the ABS sensors.
You're welcome, Morning Rain.
Yeah, thank you. It'll like turn on and off like the fuel pump and everything. Yeah. I have to have that stuff. So
one thing I love, like I said, there's sense of humor on your channel. I have a great time.
Yeah, I make fun of myself.
Humor. But when you drag the girls in on it, I just die laughing because the looks on their face. She's like, I really don't want to, but
yeah. So like, actually, my other daughter, Madison, because I always go, hey, Livy, you're in this one again. My blonde one, and who's my youngest. My middle daughter, well, my middle child, Madison. She goes, when am I gonna be in your next video? She wants to be in it. So now, like, I gotta make sure I find something for her to do. Like when I pull a car out, she's got to steer it. So
right. I have no matter what's inside, she's got to deal with it.
And dude, the BMW, the BMW one,
right?
So like, I didn't have a camera in, but I had the camera off, and a mouse. A mouse jumped across my lap and like ran out. That car was disgusting.
Your daughter would have shit all over herself.
Oh, I know, and I'm so glad that car's gone. Oh, if you guys go to my channel, you'll see that car. Man, I'm glad it's gone.
Like I think when she got in it and she saw what was in there, she's like,
Oh yeah, on the Porsche one.
yeah, I
Yeah,
won't
the snake.
spoil it. I won't give it away.
There's a
It was
snake skin
funny.
in that one.
It's
There's a snake in my boot.
like, Dad.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. Okay, so pretty much what I'm going to ask you is bottom line.
Yeah.
As like I said, a Christian male, uh, what is your just complete opinion on the paranormal and your own experiences?
So I'm actually pretty fascinated with it and interested in it. I always have been, and I think I always will be. It totally exists. There's no doubt about it. Uh, anybody who thinks that it doesn't is like not being honest with themselves, I think. Uh, but I think that's because I've experienced it. I think there's a lot of
Right,
people that say it doesn't exist because they haven't had those experiences. But at the same time, uh, I think if you haven't experienced it, I think that I don't know. I think there's probably a part of you that kind of should think that it exists. If you are a Christian, you should think that it exists because if there's a devil, then you should believe in demons and stuff because then that evil exists.
right,
So, I don't know. That's kind of my thought on it. I think I'll always have an interest in it. It'll never go away.
right.
I pray against evil things, against my family. I always pray like a hedge of protection around my vehicles, safety, around my home, things like that. Not really sure if that answered your question, but that's how I feel about it. Definitely.
Right. No, so
Yeah.
yeah, well, yeah, it did. Even though that you have your strong beliefs, there you still are open to that this exists, and
Yeah.
it's
Listen,
something that people should actually look into.
yeah, definitely. I think if there's a pastor that said, "Oh, you shouldn't blah blah blah," because that's usually the you could fill in the blank and you know what it would be. Hey, you shouldn't have anything to do with it. I shouldn't even be on this vlog with you. I,
Exactly.
I don't agree because, like I said in the beginning, if I were able to help somebody that's having a problem with Scripture and comfort as a Christian and pray against these things and help, if a priest is allowed to do that and banish these things, if you guys can do that, if you guys have the power to go in and fix this, and say you do an investigation and rid a home of it, and I'm a Christian and I have the power of Jesus Christ in me, say, let's just say that, and say like there's an atheist doing it and banishing something, right? But I'm a Christian and I can't go do that.
Right.
What good is that? If all I'm supposed to do is go up to heaven, right? But like, can I go like help someone in their home and rid their home of like an evil entity
Well,
or
like
something?
you said previously, where like yes, if you went on an investigation with somebody, a group, and even if you just went along for like moral support,
Yeah,
religious support,
the armor of
um,
God or something, or that's
just
just
yeah, just to make them feel more at ease, just because the power of prayer is very important.
I believe I see that's what I think. Like not
And
as a like I don't want to pretend like oh the pseudo priest because
right.
like I don't know. I'm have
But you're right.
trouble.
How could an atheist go in somewhere and pull out the Bible and start reading prayer or scripture, but they have no belief, no faith based system?
And correct. And do they banish these things?
Well, they say they can. I
Okay,
would say
let's put
don't get Jeff rolling on the fakes because we did a show on that. But
okay,
it's
but for
that's what
argument,
they do.
okay, for argument's sake, let's say that they can, and let's say that they do. Me as a Christian, I'm supposed to what? Just stay in my bubble at church and like not help? Like that's kind of the way I feel. Like if I can, why can't I branch out and say, um, listen, I heard that there's an issue. I'm going to go in the house and exactly, and exactly, totally
Yes.
with faith. And that's listen. I don't care what anybody else believes. I just know if like my dying breath, Lord Jesus Christ, you are my ultimate and private savior. That's just what I believe. That's my faith. So like, I just like what you said, not the not without faith type thing.
Right.
So yeah, that's just kind of what I think. Yeah.
Pretty much that's it. Yeah, because how can you do something like that and not even have any
Yeah.
faith? So
Yeah.
you can't even bring that in.
Yeah. See, Jeff.
There's
Oh,
this.
yeah, Jeff. We got to. Yeah, Jeff's a cool dude. I like him.
Yeah, we'll have Jeff on again and we'll get him rolling.
I know, because dude, I think Jeff last time was when your thing was going all squirrely, Laura.
Yeah, that was horrible. That was the beginning of the squirrely.
Yes, and today your camera looks great. So Jeff, you got to get back
Did my
on
hair
with
just for you
Laura.
guys.
I know you look
Actually, I got it
fantabulous.
had to put it up. It's hot in here.
Dude, it's wicked hot in here too. I forgot to put my air conditioner in, and so like I was
I'm sure you
thinking,
guys can't hear it. I've got the fan blowing because otherwise I'd be melted
I
and
could
I'd
see
be a puddle on the floor.
I could see your shirt moving.
Yeah.
I thought George was in there.
No, that wouldn't be the sleeve moving. It would be this part. Anniversary's coming up, so gotta get a jump
really?
start because we're older now.
Yeah, you guys are going away tomorrow. See, and I'm sorry, we're going overtime, but are you cool with that?
Am I what?
You're going overtime. Sorry about that.
It's fine. No, it's fine. Ain't no time limit.
Yeah, all right. I hope everybody's not bored.
So, well, if they are, then they'll
Then
leave. They'll just leave us, and we'll be talking to ourselves.
Yeah, I know. Tonight's no glitches. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Good. No glitches. So I must have fixed the problem. Of course, everybody was having problems because there was the solar eruptions.
Yeah.
And I think that was affecting everybody's signals because I wasn't the only one that was having those problems. But I felt bad. And I got to have Steve on again because it happened during his show. It was just a total train wreck.
Yeah, but I think whatever you did too, though, is helping. And your camera looks a lot better now, too.
So, yeah, I got a different camera.
Yeah.
Everybody can, see my blues.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Okay, now I added this part to my show, which because I think it's kind of fun. It's six, pretty much 6 silly questions. Because you never know. These are questions that nobody really thinks about in their life. I don't think anyway. And I love to hear everybody's responses. Morning Rain says we're good. Okay, yeah. Okay, question number 1. What is your favorite swear word or your favorite word?
So, of course, as a Christian, I don't want to swear.
Right.
So let's do a favorite word. As you can see, I say dude a lot. When I edit, I always say so that must be my favorite word. I cut out a lot. Yeah, probably dude.
Dude, all right.
Yeah, I've been saying that my whole life.
People don't think about that. Like, okay.
I know. I don't. I've seen this segment on your thing, and I totally forgot you were going to ask this, and I never even gave it any thought.
What is your least favorite word or phrase?
Oh, I have a great answer for this one. So I'll watch like Judge Judy, and like the people that are on there, they always go, so, all right. So whenever I went to his house, whenever I went up to the door, like whenever he opened it, whenever he was there, when somebody says whenever, when it should just be when I went to his house.
Right.
When I went there, when he opened the door, they say whenever I went there.
Right.
What is up with that new thing? They say whenever. That is my new pet peeve. Oh, I can't say.
So yeah, that's a bit annoying.
Okay. Who put wicked cool, dude? I'm like a huge. I want to get a shirt that says wicked cool.
Wicked cool.
Who said that? Two broke your. Oh, hey Cody.
It's somebody that you know.
Yes, that's my son.
Oh, okay. So he's telling you, Dad, enough with the wicked cool.
Hey, Code. Yes, he's saying I say that all the time.
That's funny. Cool.
Oh, that's so funny. Yes, thank you. I wish somebody would make me a shirt that says wicked cool. I say wicked cool all the time.
We'll see what we can do for you.
That's a northeastern thing. Wicked cool.
Okay.
Yeah, that's somebody told me that. They're like, wicked cool. What is that? That's like a Massachusetts thing, I guess. I don't know.
Oh,
wicked.
all right.
Yeah. So
yeah, I don't say that very often.
I do.
I'll
It's
say, "Oh,
wicked.
that's awesome,"
No,
but
I say, oh, it's
wow,
wicked.
wicked
Wicked.
cool.
Yeah,
Wicked
wicked,
cool,
dude.
dude.
Or I
Wicked
say,
cool,
I
dude.
say wicked, dude.
That's what we have to ask people. Wicked cool on the front and dude on the back.
I'm sorry, I
Your
keep
son's probably
talking.
saying, "Shut up! Don't say that."
Laura, I'm telling you, if I go with you on an investigation, you're gonna be like, Bill, shut up. You're talking
You
too
know,
much.
you're more than welcome to come.
You just,
Um,
yeah.
Actually, I just heard that they're going to be opening up Utica Psych for tours.
What?
The old Utica Psych building. They're going to open up for tours, so I might have to do some phone
The
calls.
one that's like near the Walmart
On,
distribution center?
by no, right over here on York and
Oh,
Cherry
that
Street.
place. Yeah. No
That's
way.
some scary building.
Oh, that place is awesome. I'd love to go. See, that
Yeah,
doesn't it
let's see
doesn't
if we can
scare
get
me.
in there.
I love that stuff.
Yeah, so we'll have to see about that one.
I'd be all
Okay,
puff chested and everything walking in there.
there you go. Have you running through there? Then you screaming, running back through.
Oh, I'd love it. I'd be like, wicked cool, dude.
And I'd be like, "Did you get it on film?" That's all.
Yeah, I know.
I don't
I'd be
care if
like,
it's
no,
trying
I
to
wasn't
kill you. Did you
filming.
get it on film?
I'd be like, no, I was too busy talking.
Oh, jeez. Okay, what's your favorite sound?
Oh, a flat six Porsche engine, air cooled, air
Okay.
cooled. Yep.
What is your least favorite sound?
A Harley Davidson engine with the baffles taken out when they're passing
Oh,
you and like on the throughway and you got your window down and they're passing you and they go, oh, I hate that. Hate
George
it.
hates the sound of motorcycles, period.
Oh, I just, they're so obnoxious. Can't stand it.
Yeah, it's too loud.
And I ride bikes and I hate it.
It's because they do it on
I
purpose.
know they do. And they do it
Yeah.
because they think you're cool. They're cool and they're not.
No, it's
They're not
annoying, especially
cool.
when you got 50 of them driving by your house.
Ugh. Yeah, and you must have it all day long.
Well, they do when they do a lot of their events or whatever, because the Harley place is just like around the corner.
Yes.
And so they have a lot of events, so that you
Yeah, they all meet right there too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, horrible sounds.
But you make up for it because you got Holland Farms right down the road.
So, yeah, they ain't as good as they used to be.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, let's see. Where do you think you'll be in 5 years?
Oh, if I would say Tennessee, but not in 5 years.
Oh, you wanna go
Uh,
to Tennessee.
huh?
You don't wanna go to
Yeah,
Tennessee.
I do. Yeah,
Why?
because uh, I'm gonna have to watch it. Um, I'll probably still be here. Um, I don't know, Laura. I'll probably still be here, but I'd like to be at least. I hope Carbs and Coffee's doing better, and I hope you are too. You know, with the raw side. I hope you and I can we'll keep each other going, patting each other on the back, and um, my kids will be close to all out of school and stuff. But I'd really
Right.
like to get out of the state. Not really
Oh,
sure. Hopefully, it's Tennessee. I appreciate my freedom, and I'm a conservative type guy, so
I'm not visiting you in Tennessee.
you're gonna have to because I'm
No,
not
I
coming
can't
back.
drive that far.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, you just have to get on a Harley and
Oh, yeah. I'll do that, yeah. We'll
yeah,
count on that one.
right.
Okay, if heaven exists, what do you think your first words would be?
Well, okay. Mom Life MD. I wonder who that is.
Oh, geez, I don't know who that is. And she says she agrees. The holler, they are the horrible sound.
Yeah.
We needed to get her on here too.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm always dropping my stuff.
Yeah, what are you looking for?
Something fell on the floor. It didn't explode, so we're
Is
good.
it your coffee?
No, that's all right. They would have been a crash. It was a FUD.
Well, okay, so you know that I have my faith that says heaven does exist. So I would. So now I've heard that it's either loved ones greet you or it's Jesus himself. So we're I think I'll probably be too busy weeping.
A good answer.
I really believe that
Yes.
because of the I think I'd be overwhelmed with the beauty from what you hear of how beautiful
Right.
heaven is. Where it's going to be unlike anything that we've ever experienced in our lifetime of sights. Now, also, I'm colorblind, so have you ever seen people that supposedly put those glasses on?
And yeah, they're
That
supposed to let you see color.
Yeah, and then they break out in tears and start
Right.
crying. So, I I've a friend of mine put those on, and they were like, "That didn't happen for him," and, like, that didn't work and stuff, and
Aw.
he threw those glasses out, and it didn't work. So, would imagine that that's the sort of reaction that I would have, when I went into heaven, but only, like, a thousand times greater. So, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I think that's gonna be a reaction that
Your
I'm gonna have.
reaction.
Yeah, yeah,
Fantastic answer. Fantastic.
yeah.
Well, like
Sorry,
I said,
Laura, for the curveballs.
no, I like it. Like I said, you never know. It's the same 6 questions, but you never know what somebody's gonna come out with.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
think that's the fun about it because you're like, "Oh, okay," or
Yeah, so you're asking the questions that people, and then you're getting the answers you don't expect, right? Yeah.
exactly,
Yeah,
because you
yeah,
don't know what's gonna come out.
exactly.
Yeah, because I think there's questions that nobody really thinks about.
Yeah,
'Cause
like
whenever you ever sat down and said, what's my favorite swear word?"
yeah, absolutely. And I think that somebody could watch this and go, "Oh, I'm gonna be on," and go, "Here's how I'm gonna answer that." You can't do that. You don't really know how you're gonna answer those
And so
questions.
you're right, until it's in your face. And then,
Yep.
like I said, people just don't think about those things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the
Exactly.
fun part about it.
Yep.
So, I don't know, but Miss Michelle, you need to come on next time because we would love your input as well. And we know she's not camera shy, so
Who knows? I don't know. She's upstairs.
she's upstairs, knock on the floor.
Yeah.
"Oh, Michelle." Uh,
Yeah, maybe
that's
next time
terrible. I'm telling you how to scare your wife. That's terrible.
we'll get her on next time. Yeah.
We'll have to try it next time. Bill, I appreciate you coming on and sharing all
Yeah.
of your experiences and
Thanks
your
for
point
having
of
me.
view. Actually, I think it's something that we need to dig into deeper, I think, next time.
Yeah, totally.
Because nobody really hits up, like I said, the Christian point of view. We always get the skeptic point of view,
Yeah.
or you get the person that's on the fence. But I think, like I said, it's a touchy subject, and of course, I'm not afraid to jump in. I always do it with both feet,
Right.
and as long as everybody's respectful, we can get decent answers to simple questions.
Maybe too.
Um,
Maybe too. With me on, maybe it'll like open up a door for someone else to like not be so sort of afraid to jump on here and
the
say, "Hey,
voice,
I want to talk
yeah,
about it too." Now, who
exactly,
knows?
because everybody's welcome, and like I said, it's just talk about it and get it out there.
Yeah. 'Cause
Uh,
I wasn't afraid to it's like, listen, here, this is just the way I feel about it. I don't have a problem if, like, somebody says, "This guy's so" listen, I'm not saying this is the way you should think about it. I'm just saying this is
exactly.
how I feel about it. Like, you could think if you
Right.
wanna if you wanna be an atheist, man, that's on you, man. I'm just telling you the way that I this is my faith. This is the way I feel about it. I'm not you're a big boy or you're a big girl or whatever you want to. This is just the way I'm just coming on here
Exactly.
presenting the way that I feel about it. It has nothing to do with what I talk about on Carbs and Coffee. I just do cars and stuff on Carbs and Coffee and make stupid funny videos. That's all. You know, that's it. So yeah.
And that's all right. That's what works.
Yep. So
So yeah, if you're up for an investigation, we'll see what we can do and
all right. Yeah.
have you come along for the experience. That would be really great.
Okay, cool.
Um, and as far as everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out with us tonight.
Yeah, it was a long one. Thank you.
Excuse me. I'm glad that everybody could join in and have your comments and your questions. And thank you, Lord. No glitches.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Take a little sip while I'm choking to death here.
Yeah.
And like I said, everybody's welcome. Anytime anybody wants to jump in, you can. this is pretty much an open forum, and I look forward to everybody next time. And I want to thank you all for joining me on the Raw side. Thank you, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Laura. See ya.